7 miembros presentes. Son 8 miembros. Tenemos Navarro, Minkowski, Pacheco, Reyes, Isaiah. 12 no pretensiones, 10 para el lista de ausentes. Bueno, necesitamos 2 de ustedes para las 10:20. No tenemos un quórum. La siguiente moción para terminar por falta de Buenos días a todos. Otra vez bienvenidos al Concilio de Ciudadanos en la Cámara del Concilio. Bienvenidos a la Junta de Concilio de ser para ahora, martes, mayo 6, 2003. Concilio se junta todos los martes, miércoles y viernes a las 10 de la mañana. Las juntas están abiertas para el público. Les invitamos a que asistan y observen el gobierno local por miembros del público que no pueden asistir al Concilio de la ciudad. Pueden ser vistos por la estación del cable, por el canal 35. Pueden ser vistos también vivo por la página de la ciudad o venir por el teléfono del Concilio. Por favor, abrace la lista.
Brinson, Galanter, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Holden, Labange, Miskowski, Pacheco, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Weiss, Saint Padilla, 11 members present.
11 miembros presentes del quórum.
Thank you very much. The council is
El
officially
Concilio
in
está
session.
oficialmente en sesión.
Colleagues have been advised
Colegas,
we
se me
have
ha
one
aconsejado que
presentation
tenemos una
set for
presentación
today.
puesta para hoy.
Mr. Burnson?
Señor Brinson,
Mr. Burnson, I understand you have a
entiendo que
special
tiene una
presentation
presentación
today.
especial.
Colleagues, let's
Colegas,
give our
vamos a
attention to
dar nuestra
Councilmember
atención como el
Burnson.
concejal.
And as Mr. Burnson
El
approaches the
señor
podium,
Brinson se acerca al podio.
Mr. Burnson, as you
Señor
approach the
Brinson,
podium
cuando se
before beginning
acerca
the
al presidente,
presentation,
antes de
would you please
empezar la
lead us in a
presentación,
salute to the
llévenos
flag?
el saludo a la bandera.
I'd ask that everybody face the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and let us all pledge allegiance to the greatest country on this earth and to the freedom that we all enjoy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I ask Jack
¿Puedo
Reynolds to
pedir
come
a Jack
forward,
Reynolds
please?
que venga para adelante, por favor?
You know, I normally
Sí, yo
don't
normalmente
read all
no
these
leo
things,
todas estas cosas,
but
pero
Jack has been
Jack ha
involved in
estado
so many
envuelto en
things for the
tantas
city,
cosas para la ciudad,
and, you know, particularly in the field of
particularmente
transportation, which
en
is
la
so
rama de
critical to our
transportación
city,
que está
and
crítica para nuestra.
that I think
Sí, yo
would
creo
be
que
remiss on my
hemos
part
remiso por mi
if I
parte
didn't
si no
let everybody know some of the
dejara saber
things
todas las
that Jack
cosas
has
que
done
Jack
as
ha
he
hecho
prepares
cuando
for
él
his
se prepara
retirement.
para su retiro.
And Jack, both of us are looking forward to that, right?
Esperamos pues.
Jack, I didn't know your
Jack,
middle
yo
name
sé
was
que su
Ralph,
nombre
but that's what it
es
is.
Ralph.
Whereas Jack Reynolds, Principal
Reynolds,
Transportation Engineer, is retiring after 39 years of service to the city.
Servicio a la ciudad.
Jack Reynolds has been a
Jack
key member
Reynolds
of the
es el
Department of
miembro del
Transportation
Departamento
Management
de
Team.
Transportación.
He began his career
Él
with the
empezó su
city
carrera con la
in
ciudad
1964 as a civil
1964
engineering
como
assistant in the
ingeniero
Department of
civil
Public
del
Works,
Departamento de Trabajos
Bureau of
Públicos.
Engineering, where he worked on street improvement projects
con
involving
proyectos
roadway widening, jog eliminations,
ensanchar las calles,
and drainage
trabajos
projects
de
associated with
drenaje
freeway
asociados con
construction.
construcciones de
In
freeway.
May of
En mayo del
1970, Jack was
70,
promoted to the
fue
position of
promovido a la posición de
senior civil engineering assistant, where he was
ingeniero
responsible
civil,
for the
donde fue
design
responsable
of
por el
bridges.
diseño de puentes.
In 1972, Jack transferred to the old Department of Public Utilities and Transportation. And in March of 1973, Jack was promoted to the position of Public Utilities Engineering Associate, where he obtained funding and coordinated the design of the Mission Road Grade Separation Project, an $18 million context-sensitive project. And in September 1977, he was commended for pioneering work in planning, funding, and implementation of the city's first dial-a-ride and user-side subsidy taxi cab services. And whereas in March of 1979, Jack and most of his colleagues from the old Department of Public Utilities and Transportation transferred to the new Department of Transportation, where they provided expertise on taxi cab regulation, railroad safety studies, utility franchise rates, and paratransit service. And just to give you a little perspective on how much service and how many years Jack has spent with the city, when I came on board in July of 1979, 24 years ago, Jack was promoted to the position of Public Utilities Engineer. And in February of '83, Jack was promoted to the position of Senior Public Utilities Engineer and provided significant expertise, advice, recommendations to the Department and the Board of Transportation Commissioners on regulating a changing taxi cab industry. And Jack, it's still changing and we still have the problems. But anyway, I guess that comes with the territory. In 1988, Jack was promoted to the position of Senior Transportation Engineer and was selected to work directly with Mayor Tom Bradley's office on a plan to manage truck travel in the city streets during peak traffic periods. And in June 1993, Jack was assigned to supervise on-street parking regulations. In May of 1994, Jack was assigned to supervise the operations of 3 district offices in the north and west areas of the city. In April 1999, Jack was promoted to the position of Principal Transportation Engineer to manage the Bureau of Traffic Management, where he has directed and overseen the activities for over 70 persons responsible for traffic safety, congestion relief, traffic calming, and rail transit construction coordination. Throughout his career, Jack has been a highly professional engineer, a flexible and creative manager, an approachable and friendly person, a valued colleague, and effective representative of the Department of Transportation. And by the adoption of this resolution, the mayor, the city attorney, city controller, and the entire city council, which all signed on this, Jack, hereby thank you and commend you for the career of 39 years of dedicated service to the people in the city of Los Angeles, and we wish you the best on your retirement. And I just want to add a few words of my own. I think that this has been a very admirable career,
una carrera muy
real
admirable, una de mucha dedicación, 39 años trabajando para esta
And
ciudad.
Jack, I don't know how
Jack, yo no
you
sé cómo
look so young
se ve
after
tan joven después de
spending
pasarse
39 years
39
dealing
años
with councils
estando con
through
los
the years,
concilios por todos los
dealing with
años.
Deaton over here.
Con Deaton
Now
aquí,
you got a new
y
group.
ahora tiene
I'm
un
bailing
nuevo
out
cuarto.
too,
Yo me
so,
voy.
you know. But anyway, I want to wish you the very
Quiero
best
desearles
and
lo
thank
mejor
you for
y
all the
gracias por
cooperation.
toda la
Wayne, you want to come
cooperación.
up here and say a word or
Quiero
two?
decir unas
The
palabras
general
también.
manager is here.
Gente
Before
general está
we let
aquí.
him speak,
Antes de que lo
maybe
dejemos
we ought
hablar,
to
a lo
have
mejor
hear
debemos
from the
de
GM,
tener.
okay?
And after the GM, we'll hear from a
Después
couple
llamamos
of
a
council
un
members.
consejero, un par de
Okay, thank you very
consejeros.
much,
Muchas
Hal.
gracias.
Jack, congratulations again.
Felicitaciones otra
Jack
vez.
is leading
Jack
with
está
almost
bien
4
de cerca
decades
casi
here.
décadas
He
aquí.
tells me that
Él
during
me
that
dice que
time he's
durante
had
ese
the pleasure
tiempo
of
es el
knowing
placer
over
de
50
conocer
council members.
50
I know
miembros.
he's known and
Y se ha
interacted with
conocido
literally
con
hundreds of
literalmente
members
cientos
of
de
the
miembros
city
de la ciudad.
and literally tens of
Literalmente
thousands of
miles de
customers that he
miles de
served.
clientes que sirve.
And if you were to
Y si
ask
fueran a
privately
preguntarle
each of these
a cada uno de
individuals what
estos
they thought
individuos lo que
about Jack,
pensaban de Jack,
almost all of them
casi
would say
todos
something that
dirían
I think
algo
is
que
just
yo
really
creo que es
admirable.
admirable.
He's one of the good
Es
guys.
uno de los buenos.
In the very best sense
En
of
el
the
mejor
word,
sentido de la
he's one of the
palabra. Es
good
uno de los
guys
buenos.
because he really
Porque de
cares.
verdad le importa.
He's a professional,
Es un
and he's
profesional.
dedicated, and he's
Y dedicado,
trustworthy.
sí.
And if he says he's
De
going to do
confianza, y
something,
dice que va a
he's
hacer
will, and he's
algo,
quiet about
está
it all. He's
dispuesto.
very unassuming. It's just really my pleasure to have known Jack, even though it's just been about a year since I've been here. But I've heard about him in Northern California, and have actually seen what he does for the city, and I know he really cares. I've had this opportunity
Tiene esta
too,
oportunidad
leading an
también de-
agency, and it's
en una
closing
agencia.
a chapter that I know for Jack is
Capítulo que conocí
very
para Jack es
significant. And in the Department of
significante. En el
Transportation,
Departamento de
Jack, we
Transportación,
just
Jack,
wish you
yo le
the
deseamos a
very
usted
best
lo mejor.
in all that you do in a
En
new
todo lo que
chapter
hace en un
that
nuevo
will be,
capítulo
I'm
que
sure,
va a estar
equally as
seguro.
rewarding. Thank you very much,
Muchas
Jack.
gracias, Jack.
You're recognized, Ms. Sikowski.
Reconocemos al señor Mikowski.
Thank you, Mr.
Muchas gracias,
President.
Presidente.
Hal, I think you
Claro,
said
usted que
very
dijo
well
muy
what
bien lo
Jack
que
has done
Jack ha
his years
hecho en
here.
sus años aquí.
But it was interesting,
Pero es
members, we had
interesante,
yesterday,
miembros,
as you know,
tenemos
we're going
ayer,
through our
estamos
budget.
pasando nuestro
And
presupuesto.
yesterday we learned
Y
that the
ayer
Department of
aprendimos que el Departamento de
Transportation is really
Transportación
embracing
deberá estar
neighborhood
abrazando el
traffic
tráfico de
management skills and neighborhood
vecindarios,
traffic management, which is a separate group,
que va a ser un
and saying it's
grupo
now going to be a
separado y va a
part of
ser
the
una
entire
parte de
department.
todo el departamento.
And Jack, in large
Y
measure,
Jack,
that's a tribute
en la
to
medida
you,
es atribuido
because
a
I
usted,
know
porque yo
in
sé
the years that I was a
que en los años
deputy
que yo
to
soy
Councilman
diputada para el
Browdy,
concejal Mando
that Jack
Browdy,
was
que
one of the
Jack es uno de los que
Department of Transportation
de
people who would go out to those community meetings way before we heard of neighborhood
mucho antes de
councils,
que hemos
way before
conseguido
we
de los
heard
vecindarios, antes de
of
que hemos
neighborhood management, and
manejamiento
talk
de
to neighborhood
vecindarios y
groups,
hablaba
talk
con
to
grupos de
residents,
vecindad,
talk
hablaba
to
con residentes,
community
hablaba con la
about
comunidad
how
acerca de cómo el
how
tráfico,
traffic tools could help
las
solve their
herramientas ayudaban a
problems,
resolver sus
a sense
problemas
of
y en el
belief and a
sentido
sense
de
of
que
faith that the
fe,
Department of Transportation
el
is there
Departamento de
to work with
Transportación
them,
estaba
not
trabajando
just
con
to
ellos no
widen
nada
every
más para
street that
hinchar
it
todas
saw
las calles que
and
veían
impact them negatively.
impactaba.
And so I think
Entonces
that,
yo
that you
creo
were
que
really a
usted debería
precursor
ser
in that field, you and those who were
precursor y esos que
at that day and
actuaron
time,
ese
early
día
out, meeting with some of the
temprano
neighborhood
viendo
groups,
con los
particularly on the west
grupos,
side, where they started
especialmente en el
yelling the
oeste,
loudest
empezaron a
about
gritar lo
traffic
más
issues. And I just
fuerte,
appreciate
cosa del
that.
tráfico y aprecio
And
yo
I
eso.
think you should
Yo
feel
creo
very,
que
very
debe
proud
sentirse
of
muy, muy
not only what you've
orgulloso,
done in
no
the
nomás lo
department,
que ha
but
hecho
how
el
you've helped set
departamento,
the
cómo
course of
ayudó
the
a poner el
future
curso del
in the
futuro en
department and
el
its
departamento, en su
relationship
relación
with the
con
neighborhoods. And
los
so,
vecindarios. Entonces,
congratulations
felicitaciones
on almost 4
en
decades
casi
and
4
best of luck
décadas y
to all
mejor
the things
suerte
you're
para
doing in the
todas las
future.
cosas que va a hacer en el futuro.
Mr. Pacheco.
Señor Pacheco.
Mr. President,
El
colleagues, I just
presidente
want to
colega
thank
más
Jack
que dar las
Reynolds
gracias a
for
Jack Reynolds por
doing a great job
hacer
on
un
the
gran
east side.
trabajo
We
en
have
el
always
este,
pushed the
hemos
limits of the
empujado los
department.
límites del
We have
departamento,
advocated,
hemos
especially in
advocado
Bohais, we have
en
advocated for
Bojas
many
por muchos
traffic improvements for the
mejoramientos de
pedestrians.
para los peatones.
The department,
El
as
departamento
well as
también
Jack,
como
have
Jack
been great to us in terms
es
of
un grupo para
understanding
nosotros
that
entendiendo
with
que
our more narrow
con
streets
Luis
in
Calles
Bohais,
en
we have different
pequeñas
needs,
Bojas
and so I just
estamos
want to
mercedes
personally
más que
thank you on
los
behalf
de
of
las
my
gracias de parte
constituents.
de mis constituyentes.
Mr. Labange.
Señor Labanche, muchas gracias, presidente. Buenos días. Sí.
Jack Reynolds,
Jack Reynolds,
congratulations.
felicitaciones.
4 decades of
Otros 4
service.
décadas de
When Jack
servicio.
started for the
Cuando
city of
Jack
Los
empezó a
Angeles,
la
there
ciudad
were
de Los Ángeles era
2,850 traffic
2815
signals. Now there's over
semáforos, ahora
4,400 traffic signals in the city of Los
4,800
Angeles.
semáforos en la ciudad de
Freeways
Los
were
Ángeles. Los
built
freeways no estaban
that
construidos,
are now built.
que ahora están
I can't name them,
construidos.
Eric,
No puedo
thank you.
nombrarlos todos.
Jack could, because
Jack
he's
los
that
hizo
kind of
porque esa
employee.
clase de
And
empleo.
what is so
Y lo
special,
que es muy
members, is
especial,
from time
membros,
to
de
time we
vez en
have
cuando
someone.
tenemos a alguien.
And I got that
Y yo
information
tengo
from
esa
John Fisher,
información
I
de
didn't
John
make it
Fisher
up.
que yo no la
But when
inventé.
I have
Yo
the
tengo la
opportunity here to
oportunidad
stand for
de estar
someone who
parado por
served
alguien que
all
sirvió
those years for the
todos
people
esos
of
años
Los
para la
Angeles,
gente de Los
countless
Ángeles,
community
muchas
meetings,
juntas de
trying to
comunidad
resolve
tratando
the
de
safety
resolver las
issues, the traffic
cuestiones de
issues,
seguridad
the
de tráfico,
transportation issues,
de
and
transportación.
why he
Y
looks so
por qué
good,
se ve
Hal,
también
is he works
es
out in
porque
the
él
field and he gets
trabaja
that good Southern
en
California sun, wears a little
el sol,
sunscreen,
usa
but also
sunscreen,
he
pero también
works out in the field and
trabaja
does the job that's
y hace el
necessary
trabajo que es
to bring it to
necesario
the
para traerlo a la
people. And the
gente.
Department of
El Departamento de
Transportation has
Transportación
brought
ha
it to the
traído a
people.
la gente.
And when
Y
you and the people in
usted
the
y la gente del
department,
departamento y
Jack,
Jack
have had high
han tenido
standards as a
estándar tan
department,
alto
has done
como
an outstanding
departamento,
job,
es un
and will
trabajo
continue to
extraordinario y
do
va
an
a continuar a
outstanding
hacerlo
job to keep
en el
people
trabajo
moving
de
safely
moviendo a la
in the
gente
city of Los
segura en la
Angeles.
ciudad de
Jack, I
Los
want to
Ángeles.
thank
Quiero
you
dar
for
las
all your
gracias por toda
special
su
attention when I was a
atención
deputy,
especial cuando era
and
diputado
also now
y también
special
ahora que
attention as a
especial
council member
como
for the people of this city
concejal
and the
para la
4th
ciudad de Los
district.
Ángeles,
Thank you.
cuarto distrito. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Labange.
Gracias, señor Lamanche.
Thank you very much for the
Muchas
kind
gracias por
words.
las
When I
palabras tan
started, this
amables.
building
Cuando
was
empecé
the
este
tallest
edificio, era el
building
edificio
in the
más
city.
alto de la ciudad.
We had brown air,
Teníamos brown air
and there was only about
y
a
nomás
million and a
había
half
como
people in the
millón y
city.
medio de
The
gente.
city
Se
has
nos-
really
la gente de
grown,
veras ha
and
crecido.
I've been proud to
Yo
be a
estoy
part of
orgulloso de
it.
ser parte de
I've
ella.
lasted 39 years because I like
39 años
working
porque
here.
me
It's a
gusta
great city
trabajar,
to
es una
work
gran
in,
ciudad para
and
trabajar y
I appreciate all of the help
aprecio
that
toda
I've
la
gotten
ayuda que he
from
tenido
everyone I've
de
worked
toda la
with
gente que he
in
trabajado.
city government,
El gobierno
and
de la
it's what's
ciudad
made
y
it
es
an
lo que lo
enjoyable
ha hecho
experience for
sobre
me.
todo para
Thank
una
you very much.
experiencia para mí. Gracias.
Next, I
Lo próximo
wish to
tengo
recognize
de
some people
reconocer a
who
alguna
helped me
gente que
with
me
the
ayudó
project
con
that I
el
worked on
proyecto
for
con
10
el que
years.
trabajé por 10 años.
And that was for
Y
a
eso
grade
era un gran
crossing at Mason
crucero
Avenue
en la calle Mesa,
in the San Fernando
en el
Valley
Valle
in
de
the
San
12th
Fernando
district.
en el distrito 12.
And first, I'd like to
Primero me
call up,
gustaría
well, I'll
llamar,
call them all up
voy a
at
llamar
once.
a
These are
todos
the
de una
people
vez
from the
la gente
Department
del
of
Departamento de
Transportation
Transportación.
that worked diligently with me for and my staff through the years and finally got this very difficult project completed, at least approved.
Por lo
The
menos
work
aprobado, el
contract's been
trabajo
let and it'll
contrato ya
start,
se va
and
a
I'm
empezar.
glad to see that that's
Y
going to
estoy
happen
feliz
before I
de
leave
que
the
va a
council.
pasar antes de acabar el
First,
consejo. Primero,
James Okazaki.
James
Come
Okazaki.
forward.
venga para
Stephanie
adelante.
Masuda
Stephanie
and
Masuda
Edward
y
Guerrero.
Edward
Well, you'll
Guerrero.
take her examen. Well, James, I want to thank you. Where is Edward Guerrero? He's not here either? Okay. Okay. Well, I'll present
Voy a
these to you
presentar
for
estos a
them,
usted para
okay?
ellos, ¿ok?
Just stand over here. We'll
Más
get
parece
pictures all
aquí
together.
para tomar retratos todos juntos.
Next, from
Próximo de
Southern California
sur de
Regional
California.
Rail Authority, or Metrolink,
El
which I
Metrolink,
am
que yo
involved with
estoy
also
envuelto también.
as immediate past chair. Ron Mathau and
Renata
Naresh
y
Patel.
Naresh Patel.
Please come forward.
Vengan para adelante.
In order to get this
Para poder
project
tener ese
completed,
proyecto terminado,
we had to have the
tuvimos que tener
cooperation
la
of
cooperación de
Metrolink.
Metrolink.
We had to go through the
Tuvimos
PUC.
PRSU,
We had to go through
tuvimos que
DOT.
DOT.
You can't imagine
No pueden
the amount of
imaginarse
work
la
that had to be done to
trabajo
get
que
a
se tuvo
grade
que hacer para
crossing
agarrar
in
un
the city of Los
crucero en la
Angeles.
ciudad de Los
We
Ángeles.
effectively had to trade off
Efectivamente
with
tuvimos que
another one
hacer con
that had to be
otros que tuvo
closed.
que ser
And the
cerrado.
people that worked
Y
on
la
this
gente que
thing
trabajó en esto
became as
se hizo
intense
tan
about it as I did.
intensa de como
And
yo
I
lo
just
hice.
wish that
Y me
Francine
deseo
Ocean
que
were here
Francine
today, but
estuviera
she's
hoy aquí,
unfortunately
pero
recovering from
está
surgery.
recuperándose de operación.
But she really spearheaded this
Pero de
thing.
veras,
But
este
Ron, you
José,
were
Ron, usted fue
absolutely terrific
absolutamente
in
terrífico
representing
representando
Metrolink
al
and
Metrolink,
helping us on this
ayudando a
project.
este
I really
proyecto.
appreciate
De
it.
veras aprecio.
And Naresh,
Y Naresh,
I want to thank you for your cooperation.
quiero dar las gracias por su cooperación.
I see you have your Metrolink
Creo que
jacket
tiene su
on, right?
chaqueta de
Okay.
Metrolink.
Okay, and the last,
Y lo último.
this is from engineering.
Este es de ingeniería.
Mase Hashima,
Mashe Hashima,
David
David
Tomasi,
Tomasian,
Matthew
Matías
Seminario,
Seminero,
and
Samaria,
Lisa Cloud,
y Lisa Cuau,
and Farid Bauer.
y Carol Parr.
Are they here, any of them? Okay, this is yours, isn't it? Randall? He's not here, you'll take that
No
one?
está aquí.
David? And Matthew
Y
Seminary.
Matthew Seminary.
And Lisa
Y
Cloud.
Lisa Cuau.
Lisa? George Corey?
George Corey,
Is George Corey here? George? And last but not least,
último, pero el
Farid
último.
Baher.
David
Take that one
Bajer.
also. Stand by. I want to thank all of you.
Sé
And
que
last but
es el
not
tercer
least,
último, pero no
this is
menos.
from the people
Esto
that
es de la
work from
gente que
street
trabaja en
services on
servicios
this.
de las calles en esto.
Thomas?
Tomás,
That's, they like the name so much, they named him twice. And Dennis Weber
Dennis Weber,
and Yalin
y
Tam.
Jalen Tan.
Are you here? Thomas?
Tomás,
Yeah. Dennis Weber?
Dennis Weber,
Appreciate it. Yalin Tam? Thank you. We're all going to go back to the picture,
todo.
okay? I just want to thank
Quiero
these
dar gracias a
people.
esta gente.
This is just a sample of
Estamos un
the
ejemplo de la
dedicated people
gente
that work in our
dedicada
city
que trabaja en esta
departments,
parte de
that
la
work on
ciudad,
behalf
que
of
trabajan
our
como parte de
constituents and to try to
constituyentes
improve
y
traffic
tratan de mejorar el
in
tráfico
our city.
en nuestra
This is a
ciudad.
situation
Esta es
where
una
we have a
situación donde
tremendous amount of
tenemos
traffic on north-south
tráfico
streets
tremendo
in the San Fernando Valley. This will open up and take pressure off other intersections going north-south, which have gotten almost impassable in the mornings and evenings in the 12th district and throughout the San Fernando Valley. So thank you all very much. You are truly public servants. We appreciate it. And I hope the people of Los Angeles do also. Come on back, we'll take some pictures.
Thank you, Mr. Burnson.
Gracias, hombre.
Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Aprobación de los minutos.
Mr. Pacheco
Señor
moves
Pacheco,
and Ms.
su
Gould seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for
Los
approval.
comentarios para
Mr. Holman
aprobación
moves and
según
Mr.
su
Reyes
derecho y la segunda.
Before beginning the
Antes
regular
de la
agenda,
agenda regular,
there is a request to
Hay una
continue
petición
item
para
number 9
continuar
for
el
1 week,
9
and that
por una
would be May
semana, esa sería
13th.
mayo 3.
Member requests to continue item
Paso
number
por
9
número
for 1
9.
week. Is there any objection?
¿Tiene ocasión?
Yes, I just want to call it
No más
special.
quería más especial.
Discussion, then
Para
we'll
discusión y
continue.
luego continuamos.
Okay, Mr. Holden, let's call that matter special
Y
before
llamar
we
este
continue
especial
it.
antes de continuarlo.
Madam Clerk, next item.
On the regular agenda,
agenda
item number
regular,
1
asunto
is
número uno es
confirmation of
confirmación
Andres
de
Orlando, and I
Andres
understand there is a
Orlando,
request to
entiendo que
continue
hay
that
una
matter
petición
to
para
Friday,
continuar
May
el
9th.
Okay,
Viernes,
member requests
mayo
to
9.
continue item number 1 to Friday, May 9th. Seeing no objections,
Sin objeción.
item 1 is
El
continued.
asunto no está continuado.
Item number 10 is
Asunto
also
número
a
también es una
confirmation of the
confirmación
reappointment of
del-
Mr. Hal Ross to
del
the
señor
LA
Hal
Convention
Ross
and
a la
Exhibition
Convención
Center Authority.
Exhibition Authority.
Communication from the chair of EDE Committee is submitted, and a public hearing has not been held in committee.
And I do not have requests
Y no
from
tengo
the
opción de lo
public to address the
público para
council
hablar con
on
el público en el
item 10.
asunto número 10.
We'll deem the public
Vamos a
hearings
la
open
audiencia
and
por
closed.
abiertas y
We welcome
cerradas
Mr.
como
Ross
buenas. Bienvenida al
to the
señor
center
Ross.
table. Hello. Good morning.
Buenos días.
Members, we have
Miembros,
item number
tenemos
10
al asunto
before
número 10
us.
frente a nosotros.
Members wishing to be heard,
Miembros que
beginning
desean
with
ser
the chair of the
empezando
committee, Mr.
con el
Garcetti.
señor Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Señor
President,
Presidente,
and
muchas
thank you again,
gracias.
Mr.
Muchas
Ross,
gracias,
for
señor Ross,
volunteering your service. It's a really critical job that
Es
you
un
have,
trabajo
and I
muy
know that your
crítico que
leadership
tiene usted y su
will
liderazgo
be able to take us
a
through these
poder
very
llevarnos
difficult
por
times.
tiempos tan
When we look at
dificultosos
visitors
cuando
at
vemos
conventions,
asistencia
it's
a
a
la
difficult
convención.
time and
Tan
something that we're looking at
dificultoso
in
el
the
que
budget,
estamos
but
haciendo en el
I hope that my
presupuesto, pero
colleagues
esperamos que
would
mis
join me
colegas estén conmigo
in renewing Mr. Ross's leadership.
el liderazgo del señor
Commend you
Ross.
again for putting yourself out there as a citizen volunteer. We're very lucky to have you, and I hope that today's vote will be unanimous one in favor. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias,
Mr. Zhang.
señor Sen.
Colleague, Councilmember
Quiero estar con
Garcetti,
mi colega Garcetti,
question.
pero tengo una pregunta.
what are you going to
¿Qué es lo
do?
que va a hacer usted?
What are the other commissioners
¿Cuáles son las
going to
comisiones van a
do
hacer
to help bring
para
some
ayudar a
light
traer
to the
luz
convention center?
al
Because
centro
the
de
criticism
convención?
that I
Porque el crítico
oftentimes
que
hear
yo oigo
is
es
it sits vacant
que está vacante.
and little to no activity. And I know the
Sin
mayor's
actividades,
concerned
creo
about
que está
that
preocupado
with
sobre
the
eso.
upcoming budget.
Con el
So since
presupuesto,
you're on
entonces
it,
como está en él,
what can we
¿qué
do other
podemos hacer
than
aparte de
bringing busloads of people
traer
here against their
gentes
will?
en camión en contra
to
de su
come for,
voluntad para
conventions
venir
in
a las
Los Angeles?
convenciones en Los Ángeles?
Well, of course,
Estoy
I'm
de acuerdo.
president
Y el
currently of the
presidente
Los
ahorita
Angeles
de
Convention Center and
la
Authority
Convención
Commission. We're the landlords.
Nosotros somos los arrendadores.
There's a great
Pero
necessity
hay
to
necesidad muy
rebuild
grande para
downtown
reconstruir
LA.
el centro de Los Ángeles.
And our competition
nuestra
is Las
competencia
Vegas,
es en Las
San
Vegas, San
Francisco,
Francisco,
Anaheim, and San
Anaheim y
Diego
San Diego
particularly,
particularmente.
which are fortunate
El cual,
enough to have their
afortunadamente,
convention
tenemos un
centers
centro de
located
convenciones
within
localizados
steps of
pasos de
hotels and
hoteles
venues
y
and things to do.
unas cosas para
And
hacer.
I don't think,
Y yo no
I've
creo que
been now,
he estado,
I think I'm 15 years
creo que
on
15
this
años en
commission,
esta comisión.
and 10 years ago, we
Desde
never would have
ese
gone
nunca
forward
hubiéramos
with
ido
our
para adelante con nuestro
remodeling that we did had it
remodelamiento
not
que
been
hemos
for the
hecho,
fact
si
that
no
we
hubiese por
thought
el hecho
we were
de
going to
que
have a
creímos que íbamos
hotel
a tener
there,
un
and that
hotel
never
ahí, y
happened.
eso nunca pasó.
And it is very
Es muy
important that we
importante
get
que
that
nosotros
hotel built.
hagamos eso de
And
reconstruir.
I think that's
Y yo creo
one of
que
the
eso
most
es una de
important
las
issues
cuestiones más
because
importantes,
once that
porque una
group
vez que ese grupo
gets started, it's not only to
empieza
build
no
a
solo es
hotel,
construir el hotel,
but to build
pero
theaters
construir
and
teatros y
apartments and really
apartamentos y de
build
veras
that part of
construir esa
the
parte
city.
de
And
la
our
ciudad. En
conventioneers have
esa
a very
convención
difficult time
tienen
when they
tiempo
come there.
difícil cuando
There's
vienen ahí,
nothing to
no hay nada
do
para hacer
after the
después de
convention.
la
And
convención.
whatever venues
Y
there
cualquier
are
unidad
are on the
haya
other side
son del otro
of
lado
downtown.
del
The
centro.
theaters are
Los
someplace
teatros
else.
están en otra parte.
So we're doing
Entonces,
everything. I
estamos
think
haciendo
the
todo.
LA
Creo
Inc.,
que en Los Ángeles
they do everything they can.
hacen
I
todo lo
think
que
there are
pueden.
some
Hay
problems, I
algunos
know,
problemas.
with
Yo
some of
sé
the
que con algunos de
expenditures,
los
and I think
gastos, y yo creo
the
que
mayor and the city
el
council are
alcalde y
looking at
concejales
that.
también son.
But I know it
Pero
is
yo
a very
sé que hay
difficult sale,
una venta
Los
muy
Angeles.
difícil en Los Ángeles.
It is not like any
No
other
es como
city.
ninguna otra ciudad.
You know, we're a city of a lot of
Donde las ciudades
communities,
son una ciudad de muchas
and
comunidades.
downtown LA
Y el
is
centro de
not
Los Ángeles
like
no lo es
these other
como
downtowns. And
otros
I visited
He
the
visitado
other
los
convention
otros
centers,
centros de convenciones
Anaheim and
de Anaheim
San Diego,
y
which
San
have
Diego
just
que
remodeled
acaban de
and
remodelar
expanded. expanded,
y expandieron.
and they're very
Y son
fortunate that
afortunados.
their conventioneers
sus
can
convencionadores
do
pueden
things
hacer
after the
cosas después de
convention
la
day is
conversación
over.
terminó.
And they don't have that
Y
in
eso no
LA.
tienen
So
aquí.
you would say the two
Entonces, diría
concerns
que
are
las dos
lack of a hotel
preocupaciones,
immediately
parte
adjacent
de
to
un
the
hotel
convention
junto a la
center.
convención,
Secondary,
segundo es
little to no activity
no hay actividad
in the downtown area
en el
after the
área centro
convention.
después de la
Correct. I
convención.
mean, we're
Correcto.
very fortunate
Estamos
just
afortunados solamente
recently to
recientemente
see the new Palm
ver el
restaurant
nuevo
within
restaurante Palm,
1 block away,
una
and it's
cuadra
doing
y
very
todo está
well.
haciendo muy
And it's
bien.
great
Está muy bien
to be able to
poder
walk outside and go to
caminar
such
fuera
a
y ver
restaurant.
tal
And I think
restaurante. Yo
Anschutz
creo
and that
que
group, that's what
ese
they want
grupo
to
eso es
do,
lo
is
que
build
quieren
more
hacer,
and more of that,
construir más y
and
más de eso,
redo the downtown area
crear la
there
área del centro,
near the convention center.
centro de
And I certainly hope
convenciones, y
that
espero
comes
yo
to
que eso
pass.
venga a paso.
Okay, thank you.
Ok,
Thank
gracias,
you.
Mr. Reyes.
señor Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. If you don't mind putting the mic closer to you, how to feel a little better.
Yes,
Thank you.
certainly.
Gracias.
You know, it seems to me we have,
Parece a mí que
we're one
tenemos
of the anchors, if you will, of the
anclas
trade we have with the Asian Pacific Islands,
Asias
with
Pacíficas,
the Central American, Mexican, and South American countries. And it just, I get the impression that we're continuously looking at the role of the convention center within the standards of mainstream. You know, competing with Las Vegas, competing with other conventions. Have you or anyone in your board, knowing your landlord, but working with policy and management, have you considered any kind of strategies
alguna clase de
that allows
estrategia
us
que nos
to
deje
develop relationships with the South
relaciones
Pacific
con el
Islands, Asian countries,
Islas
the Spanish-speaking
Pacíficas,
countries?
los países
In the
de
Western
España,
Hemisphere,
en
the most predominant language is Spanish.
donde el lenguaje es español.
That's nothing to
Eso
do
no
with
tiene
the
que ver
Convention
con
Center
la
Authority Commission. That has to
eso
do
tiene que ver
with the Los Angeles Convention and Visitors Bureau, now
con la
known
Cámara
as
de
LAA.
Visitantes como
They're the
LAA,
ones
que ellos son los que
that have the relationships
tienen las
around the
relaciones
world
alrededor del
and
mundo
trying to secure
y tratan de
conventions
asegurar
for us. But the
convenciones para
authority
nosotros, pero la
itself
autoridad en
has
sí
nothing to do
no
with
tiene que
going out
ver ir
No, I
a...
understand that,
Yo
but
entiendo
I
eso,
also know
pero
as an
también sé
authority,
como autoridad,
like you said, you're a
como usted
landlord.
dice, es un arrendador.
If you want to bring in
Si quieren
income, you
traer
want
una
tenants
ganancia, quieren
that are going
inquilinos que
to
van a...
address this hemorrhaging we're going through as a city
La hemorragia que
because of
estamos
all
como
the
ciudad
funds,
por
our
todos los
tax dollars
fondos,
that are being
dólares
lost
que
in this
se pierden en
process.
este proceso.
I would assume we would want to be
Asumiría que
more
queríamos ser
aggressive and
más
creative,
agresivos,
perhaps suggest to the policymakers, the folks that you
para
just spoke
ponerlos de
to,
los que acaba de
and
hablar,
trying to
y
break out of
tratar de
that,
salir de
those
eso,
roles and
de
see,
esos roles
because we're in a
y
crisis mode, quite
estamos
frankly,
en
in my mind, from what I've
crisis de
read,
lo que yo
what I
leí,
studied,
de lo que he estudiado.
we're losing a lot of money
Estamos
in the
perdiendo mucho
convention
dinero
center.
en el centro de convenciones.
I would assume we would want to be more
Asumiría que
aggressive and
queremos
more
más
creative
agresivos, más creativos,
dealing with the population. The
con la
second highest
población
population of
más alta
Spanish-speaking
de
Mexicanos
hispanos,
is right here in Los
Mexicans,
Angeles.
it's right here in
Filipinos, it's right here in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles,
Koreans,
Filipinos, Koreans,
right here in Los
en Los
Angeles.
Ángeles.
And it's a vast market
Es un
that
mercado
I
muy
don't
grande
see a
que yo no
presence at the
veo una
convention
presencia
center.
en el centro de
And I
convenciones.
understand what you're
Yo
saying.
entiendo lo que
That's
está
not
diciendo.
your
Eso
job,
no es
it's the
otro,
other
es
policy
otros
or
polos.
makers, management people. But as
Pero
landlords, as
como
people with the
arrendadores,
authority,
como autoridad,
couldn't we be more
no,
aggressive
pero son
in
más
going in that
agresivos ir
direction
a
as
esa
opposed
dirección en
to
vez de,
depending on the status
dependiendo
quo,
del
mainstream,
estatuto
way we do business with
del
conventions?
una convención?
Well, I think what you
Yo creo que
say
está
is
diciendo
absolutely
eso
true, and I don't know
verdad, no
that
sé
that
que no,
isn't
no
being
creo que
sought,
no se esté
but
buscando, pero
right now,
ahorita
our responsibility
nuestra
is
responsabilidad es
in hopes of
de
expanding so that
expandir
we're as large as
para
some
que
of the
podamos ser más
others, and we
grandes que
can
los demás
afford
y
to
podemos
expand if we don't
si no
have
tenemos
the hotel and the
el
other,
hotel y
there's
los
nothing,
hoteles, no hay
we
nada.
just don't, there isn't enough to
No hay
sell
suficiente para
to
vender para
conventioneers.
convencionadores.
Conventioneers go to
Convenciones van a
conventions not
convenciones
just
no
for
solo
the
para
subject of
el
their
sujeto de
conventions,
su
but
convención,
what do we get to
pero
do
qué es
after?
lo que
Next year,
hacen
that's why
después.
Las Vegas has
Naturalmente,
just
que Las
built a
Vegas
second
ha
and third
construido el
convention
segundo
center.
o
That's
tercero
what
convención.
conventioneers
Es los
want to know
convencionadores quieren
what there
saber
is
qué es
to
lo que
do
hay para hacer
after
después
they have
de
finished
que han
the
terminado
function.
la función.
That's what we have
Eso es lo que tenemos
difficulties
dificultad
Mr.
selling.
vendiendo.
Rasmussen, I really am grateful
Yo
for all your good work and
agradezco
all
por
your
su trabajo
commitments and everything you've given to the city
dada la ciudad.
in terms of your time and
Que más
expertise.
tiempo y experiencia.
But do we have conventioneers in
Tenemos
Mexico? Do we have
convencionadores de México,
conventioneers in
convenciones
China, Japan,
China,
and
Japón,
the Philippines,
en
and
las
Korea?
Filipinas y Corea.
Are there conventioneers in
Las
those
convenciones en
countries?
los países,
Yes,
sí.
but once again,
Una vez
that
más,
is the
eso es la
responsibility of the
responsabilidad
Los
de
Angeles
Los
Convention
Ángeles.
and Visitors Bureau. That has nothing
Eso
to
no
do
tiene
with
que ver
us.
con
No,
nosotros.
and I hear you.
And they are in all these places. If you look at,
Si ven
it's on file
Está en archivo
as to where they have
donde tienen
offices and it's all over the
Oficinas, está
world
por
and
todo el
connections.
mundo en
And so
conexiones.
they solicit
Ellos
all over the
solicitan
world.
todo el mundo.
One last closing thought. We
Una
have
cosa,
many great neighborhoods in the
muchos
city, as you know,
implementales, como saben,
that reflect
que
many
reflejan
cultures
muchas
throughout the
culturas
world.
por todo el mundo.
And I would hope
Que nuestra
with
esperaría
authority
con
and
la
the other
autoridad y las otras
policymakers
policías
that we could bring
que
that to
podamos
the
traer eso
forefront
para
as a
adelante
means to invite
para
more
invitar
conventions
más
to our great city.
convenciones.
Well, I'll be happy to discuss it, of
Puedo
course,
discutirlo, claro,
with LA Inc.
con él. Gracias.
Other members wishing to
Otros
be
miembros que
heard?
deseen ser oídos.
Seeing none.
Yo sin ninguno,
Please
sea la
open the roll
lista.
on the confirmation of Mr. Ross.
Confirmación del señor Ross.
Please close the roll.
Cierre la
Tabulate
lista,
the vote.
establece el voto.
13 ayes.
13 sí.
Congratulations.
Felicitaciones, está aprobado.
Forward, please.
Para adelante, por favor.
Next item.
Próximo asunto.
Which public
Asunto por
hearings have
audiencia
been
por
held,
ya se
items
hicieron.
2
Asunto
through
2 al 9.
Members, items 2 through 9 are now
2 al
before us.
9
Public
está
hearings
enfrente de nuestra
have been
audiencia
held
porque se hizo
on these
en
items.
estos
Motion from the
asuntos.
floor
Moción del
being
piso
second.
se
Reopen
requiere
public
para hacer
hearings.
abrir en la audiencia
Item
pública.
9,
Asunto número 9.
was called special by
Hemos
Mr.
presionado al
Holden.
señor
Mr.
Holden.
Lamont.
Señor Lamont.
Can I just, because we
Nomás
have
para
this very
tenemos
special
un
group
grupo
from
muy
the office
especial de la
and the
oficina,
Department of
el Departamento
Disability
de
and also
Incapacidad y
Goodwill
también un
Industries,
grupo de la
and
industria.
vocational training. They're here with us
Por eso
today. We
están con
want to give a
nosotros. Quiero
special
dar
hello and welcome to City
bienvenidos al
Hall.
Concilio de la
Okay, thank you very much. They're all here.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. President,
Muchas
for letting me
gracias, señor
interrupt.
presidente, por dejarme interrumpir.
Members, Mr. Reyes,
I do have a technical amendment, number 8.
Es esencial.
has that been distributed?
Yes.
Okay, members, item number 8, there's
Miembros.
a technical amendment that's been distributed without objection.
Sin
We'll
objeción.
consider that matter as
Consideren
amended.
esto como está amendado.
Any other specials?
Muchos
Mr.
son
Holden,
especial, señor Holden.
3 and 4,
3 y 4.
called special by Mr. Holden.
Especial por el señor Holden.
Any other specials?
Otro especial.
Seeing no other specials,
Sin
Madam
otro
Clerk, please
especial.
open the roll.
Ahora
The
se
balance of the
realiza el
items,
balance de los
including item 8
asuntos.
as
Asunto número
amended.
8 como está amendado.
Please close the roll.
Cierre la
Tabulate
lista
the
y
vote.
establece el voto.
13 ayes.
Es así.
Those are approved.
Están aprobados.
Next items, please.
Próximo asunto, por favor.
Items 11 through
Asunto 11 al
25 are items
25
for which
son
public
asuntos
hearings have
públicos
not been
que no
held.
se han hecho.
And I do not have requests
En
from
otra
the
petición del
public to
público
address the
para
council
hablar con el
on
concilio.
these
En
items. We
estos
shall
asuntos
open the
vamos a hacer la
public
audiencia
hearings, open
pública
and
de cerrada.
closed. Members wishing to call
Miembros
any
que desean hablar.
specials? Ms. Perry.
Señora Perry.
Okay.
11 to go forthwith.
11 para adelante.
Yes, when we take a vote on it. Any
Estamos
specials? 11 through
algo especial
25?
del 11 al 25.
Seeing none,
Y sin
Madam
ninguna,
Clerk,
por
please
favor,
open the
está la
roll.
lista.
Mr. Holden.
Señor Holden.
All right, now go ahead.
No, señor Padre.
Quick on the draw, Mr. Holden. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you. I'd call 17 special
17
and,
especial.
we're not there yet. Okay,
¿Cómo está?
17 special.
17 especial.
Members, items 11 through 25 currently before us. Item 17 called special by
17
Ms.
especial,
Hahn.
señora Han.
Seeing no other requests for
Mucha
specials,
presión para
Madam Clerk,
especial.
please open the
Por eso
roll
la
and
lista,
balance of the
el
items.
balance de los asuntos.
Please close the
Cierre
roll
la
and
lista y
tabulate the
establece el
vote.
voto.
13 ayes.
Those
Sí,
are approved.
están
Let's
aprobados.
send matter
Vamos a mandar
item
esto
11 forthwith.
para adelante.
Next item, please.
Próximo asunto, por favor.
The closed session items are next. You wish to hold those on the desk.
Tener estos, vamos a tener los asuntos de
On the
señora.
supplemental agenda,
En la agenda
items
suplementaria
27 and
27 y
28 are
28,
items for
esos
which
asuntos por
public
los
hearings
cuales
have
los
not been
no se
held.
han hecho.
And I do not have
Y no
requests
tengo
from the
petición del
public to
público
address
para
the council
hablar con
on
el
these
concilio en
items.
estos asuntos.
Public hearings
Se
are
dice
therefore
por
open
días
and closed.
y cerrados, señora Han.
Councilman
Gonzalo
Garcetti
Han
would
Garcetti
like to
le
have
gustaría
item
tener el asunto
28
28
sent back
que se
to the
regresara
Economic Development Committee.
el departamento de
Members, is there any objection to
comité.
referring item 28 back
de
to
regresar
committee?
el 28 al
Seeing none,
comité.
item 28 is so
Asunto
referred.
28 está referido.
Mr. Holden,
El Holden.
27.
27
27 called special by Mr.
por
Holden.
el señor Holden.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Próximo
Going back
asunto,
to the items
regresando
called
al
special,
asunto más
item number
especial,
3 was
asunto
called
2.
special by
Dos
Councilmember
asunto
Holden.
por el
Mr.
señor
Holden,
Holden.
your button, please.
Su botón, por favor.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Remember, maybe somebody can tell us
Próximo
about item number
es el
3.
número 2, 3.
Is there staff here on item
¿Hay
number
equipo
3?
del asunto número 3?
Since they're not here, I would bring
Como no está aquí, voy a traer
the members' attention
la
to item
atención
3.
de mi número número 3.
It said to receive and
Dice
file
que hacerse una
Goldberg
acción
Menendez motion
Goldberg moción de
relative to amending the mayor's
para
proposed
venderle al
budget
alcalde
95-96 to increase
9.5 para
funding in the
aumentar los
general
fondos
fund
del Fondo
GCP
General de
to the Los Angeles Unified School District,
Distrito
extending day
de
and weekend recreational programs.
recreaciones de fines de
Inasmuch as
semana.
the file is inactive and no
Está
council
inactivo,
action
no
is required.
se requiere.
And this is the
Y
example
ese es el ejemplo
of a need at the time,
del tiempo de necesidad.
and they just hold it
Y
over and then
nomás lo
nothing is
detiene y nada
done.
se hace.
And I'd like to know
Me
whether or
gustaría
not
saber
any
porque si
monies,
algún
any
dinero,
programs, at
algunos
any
programas de
time
algunas
subsequent to
clases
that
se han
date,
suplementado a esa fecha,
when this motion was
cuando esa moción
introduced,
fue
whether or
presentada,
not anything
que
was
si
done
algo
for
se
that
hizo
school
para
program
ese
for those
programa de la
kids.
escuela
So
para
to that extent,
entonces en extensión,
I need some information.
necesito
So
alguna
for
información. Por
FYI,
eso,
I'll
FYI,
continue this for a
estoy
day
contando
unless
por un
the
día
CEO
menos
has
que el CEO
information
tenga
on
una
it right now.
información ahorita.
Pardon?
It's continued for one day because
Por un día,
they
porque
asked if any money's
pregunta
been
si algún dinero sea
appropriate
apropiado a
subsequent to
subsecuentes
the 95-96 budget will take us at least 1 day
99
to
por
research.
ciento para buscar. Gracias.
Thank you.
Mr. President, members, this is
Presidente,
very,
eso
very
es
important
muy
to
importante
the children of the
para
city of
los
Los
niños de la
Angeles.
ciudad de Los Ángeles.
And it's another technique
Y
that
es
they
otra
very
técnica
often
que muy
install a
seguido
hole in
instalan
committee.
en el comité.
And the issue is not
Y la
addressed, but the
discusión
need
no
is
es
still there
pero el
for
incesto está.
extended day and
Esta es
weekend
una fecha
recreational
de
programs
programas de
for these
recreación
youngsters.
para estos
We
jóvenes.
talk a good
Hablamos
game
mucho
sometime, but
juego, pero
it ends up being nothing but talk.
no
So
es
we're going to
hablar.
hold this
Entonces
over
vamos
for
a
one
tener
day,
esto
Mr.
por un día,
President,
señor presidente.
and we'll address it
Y vamos
tomorrow.
a hablar de esto mañana.
Thank you, Mr.
Muchas
Holden.
gracias, señor Holden.
Any other members wishing
Otros miembros que
to
desean
further
hacer
this item?
en este asunto,
Seeing none,
si hace ninguno,
then let's proceed,
entonces
Madam
vamos a
Clerk.
proceder.
Item number 4 was called special by Councilmember Holden.
Número 4 fuimos otra vez su botón.
President, members, this is a
Siempre
quick
es una
qualification, and maybe the
descalificación.
Housing Department can tell
El
us something
referente nos
about
puede
what
decir
they're
algo
talking
sobre lo
about.
que están hablando.
With the Housing Holden?
With the LA Housing Department.
Estoy en el departamento de vivir porque no pasa por ahí.
Hold my.
Yo tengo mi tiempo.
Rennie Gardner with the Los Angeles Housing
Con el
Department.
departamento de viviendas.
Item number 4
Asunto
is
número
a
4 es
request for
una
council
petición para
approval to release an
aprobar que
RFQ for neighborhood
el
revitalization services
servicio de violación
to contract with
para
the community
contratar con
agency
la
to
agencia de
provide
la
those
comunidad para
services.
proveer esos servicios.
The recommended dollar amount for those
La cantidad
contracts
recomendada para
is
los contratos es $650,000
from our Home Investment Partnership Act fund.
Inversión de los fondos.
This program is
Este
been in
programa
effect
está
for how many
sometido
years?
por
Did you say
cuántos años
20?
dijo 20.
We've utilized
Yes or no? 20 years. It's in
20
the
años.
report.
the contract agencies that
agencias.
assisted the housing department for over
20
20 years.
years.
That's
Yes.
correct.
What benefits have
¿Qué
the city
beneficios
gained
la
or the
ciudad gana
individual
o los
receiving the
individuos reciben
services
estos
gained
servicios
from this type of
de esta clase de
administrative procedure?
procedimiento
contract?
The goal of the program is to
La meta del programa es rehabilitar
rehabilitate single-family and multifamily housing in the
viviendas
city.
singles en la ciudad.
Housing that
Viviendas
needs
que
renovation,
necesitan
repairs to
renovación,
major
reparaciones,
systems,
sistemas mayores,
code
reparaciones,
violations,
violaciones de código.
and the mitigation and abatement of
Mitigación.
lead hazards.
So who's doing the work?
¿Quién está haciendo el trabajo?
We have
If the single family home
Una
is
casa
owned by an
es dueña por
individual,
un individuo.
how does the housing
¿Cómo
department
es
get
que el
involved in
departamento se
that?
envuelve en eso?
Getting somebody to do the work for them.
Hacer el
It's a
trabajo.
primary goal, one
Es
of
una
the
meta
primary
primordial
goals or eligible activities of
actividades
the Home
elegibles
Investment
del
Partnership Act
documento
is single-family and multi-family rehabilitation.
Rehabilitación
So we
de
assist low and moderate income
viviendas,
homeowners
dueños
and
de
tenants.
Oh, you
inquilinos.
assist low and
Asisten
moderate income homeowners and tenants.
vendedores e
And
inquilinos.
if the tenant
Y si el
is a
inquilino
renter,
es el
how do they
rentero, ¿cómo
repair
es
somebody's
que
house
reparar la
and
casa de
someone
él?
else owns it?
Es que alguien es
Well,
dueño.
that would be for a
Eso
multi-family
es
housing
viviendas
project,
de
and the loan
viviendas.
would be
El
made to
préstamo sería para
the landlord.
Only as a loan, you
entonces
grant
los préstamos
loans
se dan
That's
préstamos.
correct.
to homeowners, individual
A los
homeowners and
renters,
tenants. Is that
that's
correct?
inquilinos,
And
correct.
and the loan is to be paid
Ese
by the
te paga
landlord.
por el
If it's
arrendador.
necessary, is that correct?
That's
Es
correct.
eso es
Okay,
correcto.
so let me ask you one
Entonces,
other question.
una pregunta más.
Who's doing the work?
¿Quién está haciendo el trabajo?
The repairs?
Las
Who
reparaciones.
selected the
¿Quién
contract?
selecciona el
You?
contrato? ¿Usted?
No, the homeowner or the
¿El
landlord
vendedor
selects the
o
contractors.
el
Okay,
arrendador?
from a list.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to get the information
Tiene
out
una
there
lista de
because the
información
public is
porque el
hearing
público
this.
está oyendo
And
esto.
we want to make it very
Y queremos
clear
muy claro
is what
que
some of
esto
the
es lo que
entitlements
los
are
derechos son.
if they have a need
Si
to have
tienen
the
una
home
necesidad
repaired.
de que reparen la
Okay,
vivienda
and you give them a list
y
of
les da una
contractors.
lista de contratistas.
Okay, fine. On that
Está
point,
bien,
Mr.
gracias por su
President,
presente,
members,
miembros.
some of these
Hablan de
contracts
estos
that you give them a
contratos que
list
usted les da,
of, they go in there, they
van ahí
spend all the
y se
money that
gastan
you
todo el
set
dinero que
aside
se
for
le
that
pone para
project
ese proyecto
for that entire project, and they don't complete
y
the
no
job. How many
terminan el trabajo.
complaints have you
¿Cuántas
had in that
quejas han
regard?
tenido acerca de eso?
I couldn't give you,
No te podría yo darle.
I couldn't give you that figure off the top of my head. I'd have
But
to.
there are some
Pero hay
complaints, is that
algunas
correct?
quejas en eso, sí.
Majority of your contracts have been
Muchos
contracts
contratistas
that complaints
se
are filed
quejan.
against them?
No, most of the projects get
Los otros proyectos se
completed
terminan
and signed off
y se
by building
firman
safety.
por seguridad.
Certainly, in
Pero
any
si terminan un
program, there are
programa, hay
complaints.
quejas.
Right, and what you need to
Lo que
take,
necesitan es
if
tomar,
there's been a number of
si
complaints
el
filed
número de
against
quejas en contra de
contractors, then they should not
contratistas,
be on
el
your
número
list
debe estar en
anymore.
su
Is
lista
that correct?
absoluta.
What do you do about that
¿Qué
when
es
they
lo que
turn
hace?
out to be that case?
Cuando pasa ese
They're removed from the
se
list, sir.
remueven
How
de
many
la
have you
lista.
removed?
¿Cuántos
Do
se
you know?
remueven?
I'd have to
Well,
research
why
it.
ask this to be
Pero
continued for one
continuamos por un
day,
día para
and tomorrow when you come back,
mañana
when
va a
you know
haber
something
va a
about
ser
this.
sobre esto.
You want the total number of
El total
complaints?
de
Yeah,
quejas
total number of complaints.
Okay.
How do you get off the list? I
y
mean,
cómo que le sacan de la
when
lista.
there are complaints,
Cuando hay
how do you
quejas, ¿cómo es que
satisfy the client,
al
the
cliente?
homeowner, the tenant?
Well, the contractor-homeowner
Contratistas
relationship
dueño de la
is
relación
separate
es
from any
separada
city
de cualquier
relationship.
I know,
relación.
but you make the
Por
recommendation,
eso se
and
hace la
Well,
recomendación.
it's not a
No es
recommendation.
una
well, let me just
recomendación.
say this on my time, and you'll give us the answer tomorrow.
Okay.
I've
Contéstame
got
mañana.
complaints
Yo he tenido
where the
quejas
homeowner
con
is saying,
los que es
Mr.
diciendo, señor
Holden,
Holden,
the job is
el
worth, I got
trabajo,
$10,000 for the
$10,000
job, that's
del
what's
trabajo
agreed
es lo
upon.
que se
The
acordó.
job is
El
half done,
trabajo
the
está medio hecho,
$10,000
los
is
$1,000
gone.
ya se fueron.
What do you do about
¿Qué hacen
that?
sobre eso?
You see, like, you implicated, the
Usted
city is
implicó
implicated in this
a la
whole
ciudad en todo
process.
este proceso.
We just can't let those kind of
No
things
podemos
drag
hacer
on.
estas cosas
What do you do
sobre
about
qué
it?
hacen
You
sobre
got
eso.
to fix for the problem.
Dicen
Is that
arreglar el
correct?
problema, ¿no es cierto?
Well, I do want to
Bueno,
emphasize
quiero
that the city has
enfatizar
no
que la ciudad no
relationship
tiene
with the
relación con el
contractor. It's the owner that
contratista, es
hires
el
the
dueño que
contractor.
contrata al
But you
contratista.
recommend the
Pero usted
contractor.
recomienda al
You get him on the
contratista.
list.
Es una lista.
Oh,
Eligible
I won't
contractors.
be here, but you
No
can,
voy a
somebody
saber
better
que
take a look at this
probablemente
whole
vean
policy.
esto, toda esta póliza.
Okay, we'll come back
Ok,
with
Tomorrow,
regresamos
you come
mañana.
back.
the total number of complaints
Quejas
tomorrow, you
totales.
and our rest, okay.
Any other
¿Tendrás
questions?
alguna otra pregunta?
On this item?
Tengan en este asunto.
No. Mr. Parks.
Señor Parker.
Just like to also
Me gustaría también
have some
tener
information
una
how do
información de cómo los
contractors get on the
contratistas se
list
meten a la
to
lista
be
para
considered.
ser considerados.
Madam Clerk, let's open the roll.
Procede la
Mr.
lista, señor
President, there was a
presidente. Va a haber una
request to
petición para
continue
continuar este
this matter
asunto
to
para
tomorrow.
mañana.
An objection on the
Una objeción para
continuance?
continuar.
Seeing none,
Dígase ninguna.
we'll consider it again tomorrow.
Consideramos para mañana.
Next item, please.
Próximo asunto.
Item number 9,
El asunto
call
me llama
special by
especial, señor
Councilmember
Conejo Holden.
Mr. President, members,
Presidente,
item 9,
el asunto número
Is the
9.
stand here?
¿Está el equipo aquí?
oh, okay. On item 9, you heard
Asunto
some of our
nuestro día
concerns
nuestra
last week that we
preocupación la
didn't
semana
have
pasada que no
sufficient, that
tenemos
is, the city
suficientes, como
did
se
not
ve,
have sufficient representation on this
representación
board.
en esta
It's the
Cámara.
Santa Monica Transit Authority,
Autoridad de
board
Santa
they're trying to
Mónica
establish, I think,
que
works to
quieren
that
establecer
effect.
en ese efecto.
Correct, it would be the
Correcto, eso
exposition
es
line.
la línea de exposición.
To service the
Para
exposition
servir
line.
la línea de
And they were
exposición.
giving one
Y estaban
member of the board
dándoles un
to the city of
miembro
Los
para la
Angeles.
ciudad de Los Ángeles.
Total is 5 members. Is that
Todos
correct,
los
sir?
5 miembros, ¿no es
That's
cierto?
the original proposal, yeah.
La propuesta
What's the
original.
original? What's the current proposal?
¿Qué es la propuesta?
Okay, that is still the
Bueno,
current
esta
proposal,
es la
although we are in
propuesta que
discussion.
estamos en discusión con ellos acerca de cambios.
For the members of the committee,
Miembros del comité,
the council, Mr. Parks,
señor
Mr.
Parks,
Perry, who's affected by this
está
because
afectado
most
por
of
esto
the
porque casi
exposition
todos
line
la línea de
goes through the city
exposición
of
los
Los
dos
Angeles.
no pasó de la ciudad de Los Ángeles.
I talked to
Yo
the
hablé
senator's
con
office
la
yesterday,
oficina del senador ayer
and I believe
y
they're
yo creo
amenable
que
to making this a
para hacer
7-person
una
board
cámara de
and
7
giving
personas sean de
3
los
appointments to the city
3
of Los
para la
Angeles, not
ciudad
a
de Los
majority,
Ángeles, no la mayoría,
but 3.
pero 3.
And I said, if you do that,
Y yo dije, si hacen
I
eso,
guarantee
yo
you're not
garantizar
in anything. I
que
will
no
not
va a ser,
oppose
yo
it.
no voy a ponerlo.
And I would hope the city
Y
council
espero
would
que el
support the
Consejo de
bill.
la se soporte el
And they would seem to be
Me
amenable to
parece
that,
que
and I think that's the
en
direction
eso
which
que
they're
no
going,
es
and
el
that's
que
what they
están
asked for
yendo
1
y por
week's
eso piden
continuance,
una
I
continuación
believe.
de una semana.
And I
Y
also
eso
pointed out
también
the
apunté el
fact
hecho
that the
de que
people along that
la
corridor,
gente que son
exposition
de ese
corridor,
corredor de
a lot of
exposición,
folks are
mucha
not in
gente
favor
no
of
están
it.
en favor.
And so when you have this
Entonces
board
tienen
in
esta
place,
cámara del
this
lugar.
board is going to be
Esta cámara debe ser
sensitive to what the
sensitivo a lo
concerns
que
of
la
the people who live
preocupación
in
de
that
la
area.
gente que vive en esa área.
For example, they
Por
don't want
ejemplo, ellos no
a train
quieren
at
un
great
tren que
level killing people like they're doing
matando
the Blue
gente como
Line
lo hacen en la
coming
línea
from
sur
Long Beach.
viniendo de Long Beach.
They may want
A lo
to
mejor
cut
van a
cover,
cortarlo.
below grade, and so we know when you get to the west side of this area, this district, this exposition line, you're going to tunnel.
Hay un
We know
túnel.
you're going to do that,
Sabemos
and
que
we
van
know
a
you're
hacer
going to
eso,
cut
van a
cover.
cortar.
Because they're not going to have you coming
Porque
to
no
the
van a tener
neighborhood
que
making
van
a
a
lot of
extender
noise.
haciendo mucho ruido.
And we don't want you coming
Y no
through our
queremos que nuestro
neighborhood
vecindario
making a lot of noise.
haciendo mucho
So
ruido.
therefore, we need
Entonces
a
por eso necesitamos
representation
una
on the board, and
representación en la
hopefully
Cámara.
that people who
Esperemos que
live
la gente
adjacent
que
to
ve
the
junto
exposition corridor
al
will be
corredor de
appointed to the
exposición
board.
sean
So
apuntados
their
en la
voices can
Cámara
be heard
para
in more
poder
ways than
voz
one,
a ser oída
not
más
just
en
an
el
advisory
más
committee.
con
Anyway,
gente
I
consejera.
think that's where the senator's
El
going.
senador
There
va
always seem to be
el
quite
vecino va
amenable
a ser
to suggestion
la
of street
sugestión
person from the
de
city
la
of Los
persona
Angeles
de
serving
Los
on that board.
Ángeles.
And for that,
De
Mr.
esa
President,
Cámara,
we
señor
can continue
presidente,
for 1 week.
continuamos por una semana.
Mr. Burnson?
Señor Brinson.
Thank you. In all due
Gracias, con
respect,
todo respeto.
let me just say that
Déjame decir que
I don't support the bill, and
yo no
I'll tell you
soporto
why. It's just another
la regla,
level
la ley, por eso otro
bureaucracy
nivel
in
de
government.
burocracia de gobierno.
The MTA
El MTA
has the
tiene
representation,
la
4 representatives from
representación,
the
más
city of Los
representantes de la
Angeles,
ciudad de Los Ángeles,
plus the county reps
más representantes
that
del condado
represent that
que
area.
representan esa área.
And you don't need to.
Y
You already have
necesitan,
the
ya
people that are
tenemos a la
concerned
gente que
about the
está
city and
preocupada
the
sobre la
problems in
ciudad
the
y los
area.
problemas de la área.
First of all, we
Primeramente,
don't know
no
if
sabemos
and when
si
this
y
is ever going
cuándo
to be.
esto va a
Yes,
ser
we put it
construirse.
on our future
Si lo
plans,
pones en los planos del
and
futuro,
it's obviously
y
a
es
very
obvio,
important
es
corridor, but we don't know
muy
what's going to be
importante,
there,
pero
whether it's
sabemos
going to be a
que si va a ser
busway,
un
whether it's going to be a light
camino
rail,
de
certainly not going to
camiones
be
o
a subway.
de trenes, no va a ser un solo.
So, you know, and then there's the
Entonces,
question of the
la
great
pregunta de
separations
la
and
gran
great
separación
crossings.
y el
A lot of
cruceros.
things have to be
Mucha
addressed.
gente
There's a lot
tiene
of
que
time
llevarse muchas veces
before this would
antes de esto,
become a factor,
antes
whether
de ser un
there's a
factor
need
que
at this
sea
time
necesario
for
ahorita
another board.
para otra cámara.
So I would
Entonces
suggest
yo sugeriría que
that we, this is going to be continued
esto
for a
va a ser
week, is it?
continuado por una semana, ¿no es
That's
cierto?
fine,
Vamos
but
a
I
estar bien,
think,
pero yo
the
creo que
MTA board, if I
la
recall,
Cámara
is
de
taking
MTA
a
está
position
tomando
of
una
not
posición de no
supporting
soportar.
the cool bill. And I must say that sometimes these things do work
Estas
well. It
cosas
worked very
trabajan
well
bien y
with the coal
trabajan muy
line in
bien con la línea
Pasadena,
dorada en Pasadena.
which Councilman Reyes is the chair of that board. But
Presidente de esa Cámara.
ultimately, when
Pero
it's constructed,
últimamente,
it's
cuando
turned over to
construido se
MTA for
vuelve a la
operation
MTA
anyway.
para operación de
So
cualquier
I would
manera,
think
entonces
that
pensaría que
we could probably
podemos
wait on
probablemente
something
esperar
like
en
this.
algo
I
así
don't
como
think the
esto.
timing is right
Yo
on
creo que
creating a
es
separate board if
crear
that
una
be the
cámara
case.
separada si ese es el
And
caso.
the powers that be
Los
decide they
poderes que
want to do that,
decidimos que
which would
quieren hacer
mean
eso,
the
que
state
querrá decir la
legislature.
legislatura del Estado.
But in reality,
En realidad,
I think that
yo
we should
creo que
not
no
support this
debemos
at this
soportar
time.
esto ahorita.
Not unless some
A
amendments are
menos
made
que
to make
aumentos
sure
sean hechos para que estén seguros de que
that it goes into effect
vaya en
when it's
efecto cuando sea
necessary and not that we
necesario y
start
no que empecemos a
accumulating
acumular
board members with expense now
generar gastos ahora.
because
Porque
we're not even in the planning
ni
stage
siquiera
on
estamos
that
en
at this
el estado de
time.
planeamiento
So
ahorita,
I
entonces
would urge either that we delay, urge the author to delay this bill until the time when it's appropriate, and if everybody agrees, and if the MTA signs off on it. Currently, the MTA has
ahorita
not
el
signed
MTA no ha
off on it.
firmado en eso. Señora Mejás,
I concur with the
yo
request
concurro
from
con la
Mr.
petición
Holden
del
as
señor
this be
Holden de que
continued
esto
1 week. I
continúe una
appreciate
semana.
that he
Yo
has
aprecio que la
talked to the
ha
senator's
hablado con la
office,
oficina de los senadores, el
senator's
Senado
office here last week,
estuvo aquí la semana
and
pasada
indicated
y
being
dijo
amenable to
que
look at this, and I
mínimo
think the
para
idea
ver
of
esto
coming
que
up
la
with
idea de
3
venir los
representatives on
tres
the board from the
representantes en
city
la
of Los
Cámara me parece de Los
Angeles
Ángeles
makes good sense since
tiene buen
90%
sentido,
of the
es
line is
90% de
in
la
the city of Los
energía es en la
Angeles,
ciudad de Los Ángeles.
and that can
Y eso
assure
puede asegurar
not only the
no solo
just equity in numbers,
la
but
igualdad de
equity
números,
in
pero
areas that
igualdad
we
en áreas que
represented, because the
representando
expedition
porque la
really does
expresión de
run
veras
down
corre
from the
por
heart of Los
el
Angeles
corazón Los
through
Ángeles,
most of Los
de casi
Angeles to
todos Los
then the
Ángeles,
coast in
en la
Santa
costa de
Monica.
Santa Mónica.
The other
Los
bordering
otros,
cities, the other cities
los
through which this
corredores
goes
por
are
donde
supportive
pasa
of
esto
it.
son partidos
And I
de
think that there's no harm,
creo que no
again,
hay
looking at the
daño
model of the
viendo el
Pasadena
modelo
Blue
de
Line
la línea
and the Alameda Corridor for that matter, to really
corredor
come up with a
quiere
line
salir con una
of
línea
an
de
authority for the construction and
para la
overseeing
construcción.
contracts which are really going to be going
Conductas que
on
va a
in
pasar
those
en
cities
estas ciudades.
makes sense. Still
Tiene
some
sentido
subservient to MTA in the long run in terms of its operation, and MTA having the ultimate authority to grant the money. But the request is today for 1 week's continuous helps us to make sure and make clear that that amendment is in the bill, that there's consensus on that, and that we can then move forward to begin to try to do what the Pasadena Blue Line has done, and that is not go through the litigation course, not go through the fights among cities, but go through the cities there together who will say with one voice, this is what we want, it's consistent from one end to the other, and let's find a way to get it built. So 1 week's continuous on this makes sense, but I think this authority is a good suggestion from Sheila Kuehl to how we might be able to really move getting it done.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, members, if we look back 9-10 years ago, there would be no Metrolink. And the reason why we have a Metrolink is because Mr. Burnson had a vision. And Mr. Burnson came to me, I was chairman of transportation committee. He said, I have a vision about bringing a train, reactivating the Metrolink operation down through the valley, into the city of LA, and the people get out of their cars. That's all, Mr. Burnson, if that's your vision, we'll do it. So now it's a good success, Mr. Burnson. If you didn't have that vision, you wouldn't have it. Now, there's a guy named Tom Bradley Baxter Water sat on Expedition line years ago saying they have a vision. And that was long before the Metro. The vision is still there. Expedition is still a bicycle trail or whatever it might be. But I can tell you this. We talked about putting a bus way down there. Nick Pastoris talked about that. And the people didn't like that. Some of the people in my neighborhood didn't want a bicycle lane down there because people be coming to their neighborhood. They didn't like that. They just stuck people in West LA. Not in my backyard. But if you have at least 3 people represent the city, and some of them live in the corridor adjacent to the Expedition line, you might get more consideration. The fact of the matter is that why not do it in our lifetime? You know, with the time we have left, and you did the Metrolink in yours. And I would suggest that at least we can kick this off by supporting the concept of having a board. The board may not do anything. But I'll talk to Ms. Burke about it. She's the supervisor for that entire area. She is also on MTA Board of Directors, and probably will have an appointment as maybe Zeb would too, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that we
Nosotros debemos ir para adelante
we can't stand still.
y no podemos pararnos.
Sure, MTA will not be in charge of anything except operating the system once it's completed. But think what would have happened if they never got the goal line out of the way. We waited for MTA and LACTC, whoever's in charge at the time to do it. This acquisition concept goes way back to RTD, LACTC, now MTA, and even today, nothing has been done of concrete nature. So, Mr. Burnson, you've been good in transportation. You've been very good. Now you're the chairman of transportation for the city of Los Angeles, and you want us to have 3 votes on that board. Number 2, you were the LACTC, you were MTA, and you brought the Metrolink in, you were SCAG, you were the AQD. You're a busy man, and you do get a lot done. Come June 30th, you can take a break.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Members, is there any objection to the continuance as requested? Seeing none, this matter is continued. Next item, please.
Item number 17, call session by Councilmember Hahn, and there is an amending motion that has been distributed.
Ms. Hahn? Item 17.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, what we have before us is, I think, an example of how our city departments have worked together for our benefit. I don't know if you all have been aware, but in the past I have been critical and have criticized our city's process in coordinating state grant applications for watershed and other projects.
para otros proyectos.
it was obvious that our departments were actually
Obviamente que
competing
la
with
corrección
each
está
other
compitiendo uno con
for
otro
funds
para
such as
fondos
Proposition
tales
40
como Proposición
funds.
número 40.
And when the State
Y cuando
Water
el Estado
Resources
de
Board
Agua,
made
la
funds
Cámara hizo
available
fondos
for
disponibles
Prop
para
13 and
la Prop
Prop
13.
50, which the voters have
50
recently
se
approved,
aprobó.
I felt it was
Yo sentí
important
que era
that the
importante
CLA
que el SLA
coordinate the
coordinara
applications from various
acciones
departments for these watershed
departamentos
projects to ensure
para asegurar
that our city
que
was
nuestra ciudad estaba
represented in an
representada
equitable fashion. So what you have before
manera
you
igual.
today on this
Lo que
item
tenemos en este asunto es
are a list of
una
projects
lista
that
de
our departments
proyectos de
collectively
departamentos
feel
sienten
are of utmost
que
importance
nosotros tenemos
in applying
importancia en
for
aplicar
Prop 13
la
and Prop
Prop
50
13 y
monies.
50 en dinero.
I really want to
Y de
thank the
veras que doy
CLA
las
for
gracias al CLA
organizing
por
our
organizar
departments
nuestro
in a process
departamento
that
en
I
un
think
proceso
finally
que yo
makes
creo
sense
finalmente tiene
for our
sentido
city.
para nuestra
I would
ciudad.
like to
Me
move
gustaría mover
the amending
la
motion
moción de
that
amendamiento
includes
que
8
incluye
additional
8
projects for the
proyectos adicionales
application.
para la aplicación.
So these are recommendations that the CLA has made after speaking with
Después de hablado con
council offices,
oficinas del
Bureau of
concilio,
Sanitation,
Cámara de
Recreation and
Sanitación,
Parks.
Departamento
And what we
de
have
Parques,
before us is
y
a
lo que
list
tenemos
of very
adelante
strong
tiene un
projects that we're applying
que
for
estamos
some of this money
aplicando
that will
por ese dinero
ultimately
que últimamente
improve
va a
many of
mejorar
our water projects here in the city.
proyectos
So I
en
would
la
like to
ciudad. Entonces me
move
gustaría mover
the CLA report,
el reporte
and I
de
would like
CLA
to
y
move
me
the
gustaría mover
amending
la
motion,
moción de
and
amendamiento
which is the CLA
que
recommendation. Thank you,
se
colleagues.
le recomienda.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Other members
¿Hay
wishing to
otros
be heard
miembros
on
con
this item?
desarrollos en este asunto?
Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ábrese la lista.
Please close the
Cierre la
roll.
lista. Establece el voto.
13 ayes.
13 sí.
That is approved.
Está aprobado para adelante el asunto número 17. Recibimos la petición para mandar el asunto número 2 para adelante también.
Next item, please.
Próximo asunto, por
Item number
asunto
27, called
27,
special by
especial
Councilmember
concejal Holden.
Your button, please.
Su botón, por favor.
Mr. President, members,
Presidente, miembros,
this is an item we
es un
talked about
asunto que hablamos
sometime,
hace un tiempo acerca de la importancia.
and I want to know what
Yo quiero saber qué
decision
decisión
that we've come to in order to
hemos
make this
venido para hacer
acceptable or
esto
whether or not we
aceptable o que
reject
sí
it.
vamos a rechazarlo.
And with that
Y con eso,
statement
la declaración,
being made, maybe the staff can
podemos
come
hacer
forward
esto bien el
and
equipo
share
para
to
oír
me what the recommendation
cuál es
is.
la recomendación.
Mr.
As the staff comes forward,
Parks has already suggested
Ya sugirió
that we remove the
movamos $400,000
$400,000 and $400,000.
$20,000.
I think you accepted that
Creo que
amendment,
aceptamos este amendamiento
and we can
y podemos
evaluate the performance of the
evaluar
officers
de los oficiales
as to how well they do
que
their
también
job
hacen su trabajo
and have a criteria for
como tiene
determining
que
whether or
determinar
not
que si
they
sí o no
receive a bonus
reciben un bono
without having the
sin tener que
$400,000
apuntar
be a trigger mechanism
es
for
un
that purpose.
mecanismo para ese
Is that
propósito.
right, Mr. Parks?
Es cierto, señor.
Right, so will you respond to
Entonces,
that?
entonces responde, puede hacerlo
Oh, thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, gracias,
Thank you, Mr.
presidente.
Holden.
Yes, the revenue target was deleted from this proposed program, this pilot program that characterized or titled the Traffic Officer Incentive Program. But I bring your attention to there's a fact sheet attached to our
Hay una
memo
hoja que está en nuestro
that's titled
memorándum
Traffic
que dice
Officer Incentive
Tráfico
Pilot
Social,
Program Service
Programas de
Benefits.
Servicios de
And there are
Beneficio.
5 critical factors that will be
Factores
used
que van a
to
ser usados
evaluate
para
the
evaluar
success of
el
this
éxito de
program.
este programa.
These factors
Los
include
factores incluyen
overall traffic
términos
officer
sociales de
attendance
tráfico,
improvement and
asistencia,
reduction in
mejoramiento,
sick leave
reducción
costs,
en costos de
improved
días de
turnaround
enfermo,
time for removal
para
of
removación
abandoned
de
vehicles,
vehículos
faster
abandonados,
response time to
respuesta más
service
rápida a los
calls,
servicios,
additional traffic
adicionales
officers available to
disponibles
respond to service
correspondientes
calls
a los de
involving
servicio
emergency
envolviendo
situations,
situaciones
traffic
de riesgo,
control,
control del
blocked
tráfico,
driveways. And then, there's a residential task force and a disabled
y la
placard
ciudad que
enforcement
platica,
unit.
pues,
And then also
y
increased
también aumentar
productivity
la
and
productividad
revenue.
en
So
ganancia. Entonces,
I know the focus
sé
was
que el
on this
enfocamiento era nuestro,
$400,000 revenue target or increase. But even without that was not
eso no era
the most
lo
critical
más crítico
evaluation
evaluación
criteria that was used
que fue usado
to measure the
para
success of
medir
this
el
program.
éxito de este programa.
What I would
Lo
suggest
que
is that
sugeriría
we
es que
do go forward with this
vamos para
program
adelante con
now
este programa ahora
and that at the
y que la
conclusion of
conclusión
this
de este
pilot program, we come
programa
back to
piloto
your
regresemos a
council,
su
maybe first through
consejero y
committee,
por el
and we
comité
can
y
address
vamos
whether
a
or not
hablar que
this
si sí o
was
no esto va a
successful
ser
and
exitoso
give you
para
some
darnos
specific
una
information on
información
the 5
específica en
different
los 5
criteria.
diferentes criterios.
Mr. President, members,
Presidente, miembros,
I must tell you that
quiero
the
decirles que
traffic control officers are
instrucciones de
responsible for bringing in
control son responsables por
a
traer
substantial amount of revenue for the city of
ganancias
Los
para la
Angeles.
ciudad de Los Ángeles.
There are times
Hay
when
veces
it's
que
80 million, 90
8
million,
millones,
100
90
million
millones, 100 millones de dólares.
But they're up to about
Pero eso
100
es
and,
como 100.
at least about 107. In fact, they will exceed 107 million. They will exceed their revenue target this year, and we feel it's in large part to this program.
Por este
they will exceed,
programa.
well, it's
Exceder
because
porque
they've been doing their job all
están
the
en su
time.
trabajo todo el tiempo.
And I think that
Yo creo que
if you suggested that they're sick and they're not there,
que no están ahí,
other things that might
que puedan
have been going on, and yet they
está
capped
pasando, pero
the last year's resources up to $107 million.
170 millones.
Somebody's got to be doing something right.
Alguien tiene que hacer algo.
And yet we're going to hold their feet to the fire and say you got to do these other things, which we talk it, which is a target now. And then we
y luego
and then
vamos
you be qualified for a
van a tener
bonus,
calificados para un
perhaps,
bono,
maybe.
quizás, a lo mejor.
And I think, of course, they
creo
qualify for a bonus. If they keep, I mean, you don't talk about $400,000. They went from 80 million, 85 million to 107 million. Everybody should get a bonus. You too.
Entonces tenemos hasta
That's okay. It's another time, another subject.
An important factor, though, is that this program was developed in concert with Local 347, the traffic officers in management. This was a collaborative effort between labor and management working together to
Just goes to show the work, Mr. President. And on my time, I'm going to say that the traffic officers are not giving the credit that they deserve for the most part. They don't want a quota system. The law does not provide for a quota system, and therefore there shall not be a quota system. But these other standards that you're putting in place that should be met as a requirement by any employee who's doing a good job, and the compensation should be given to them. Special consideration should be given to them. And they've shown their worth anyway over the years by going from, I know, 80, 85 million to $107 million today. And that's not getting everybody who's in violation of the parking ordinances. So, Mr. President, members, I move Mr. Parks and all, I move that we support the item as amended. And this is the amendment for today, is that correct? As amended. Who put the amendment across? Is that part of the report? Is that the amendment included in the report? Yes or no?
Yes, it is now included in the report.
It's not included?
It is included.
It's part of the report?
Es parte del reporte.
All right, Mr. President, then we have moved that we adopt the report,
como adoptemos el reporte.
which includes the amendment stated by the
puesto por
CEO.
la CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
Gracias, Holden.
Mr. Labange.
Señor Labange.
Thank you, Mr. Fujioka, if you could please come back here, any representative from transportation. Just one slight thing, I have discussed it, it's somewhere within our inner workings here of these particular traffic enforcement officers to have a 6-2, 6 hours enforcement, 2 hours directing traffic at major intersections. Are you familiar with that?
¿Está familiar con eso un poco?
Yes, I'm aware of your proposal. It's been shared with the department. We ask that we move forward on today's pilot program. The department will be responding to your 6-2 proposal.
Great, and I also just want to, I support this, but I also want you to look at traffic safety, mobility of the people. These particular officers provide a great role in the government of Los Angeles by making people move through the community, and it's not always just writing tickets, it also is safely serving the community. In the instance just recently with the power outage, over 70 officers came to the aid of the Hollywood community to direct traffic at various intersections that had no power. And that was extremely important and an excellent job at that particular call. So it's a number of issues that they have as a responsibility to keep Los Angeles moving, keep it moving safely, and also work to try to improve intersection control. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Holden for a second time.
Mr. President, members, for the benefit of the council members, I want to share this information with them. About 9 years ago, Ms. Perry, there was an effort on the
había
part
un
of the
esfuerzo en la
administration
parte de la administración
contract
para
out this
contratar
service.
los servicios
Traffic control officers. They give
control de
examples about what happened in West Hollywood and other small cities around, saying it would justify contracting out this service. I just want you to be mindful of the fact that the evidence today clearly shows that by keeping this contract, keeping this service in-house,
en la casa,
by keeping this, am I right? It has benefited the city of Los Angeles in the long run.
Yes.
And we were right when we fought, came out against the proposal to contract out this service. And we were right when we came out against the suggestion to contract out the sanitation work. You didn't know that.
no se ven eso.
So there's been efforts before to dismantle this kind of service that's been in-house for years, where we had loyal, professional employees on the job doing their job. So we're coming sometime next year, there may be an effort to do that again. Please don't let it happen.
No dejen que pase.
Thank you very much,
Gracias,
Mr. Holden.
señor Holden.
Seeing no other colleagues
No hay
wishing to
otros
be
colegas que
heard,
desean ser
you can
oídos.
please open the roll on
Terminamos
the
de abrir la
item.
lista en el asunto.
Please close the roll
Cierre la lista.
and tabulate the
Establece
vote.
el voto.
13 ayes.
13 sí.
That item is
El
approved.
asunto está aprobado.
Next item,
Próximo
please.
asunto, por favor.
There is a
Hay
special one
una
on the desk,
especial en el
Mr.
asunto, una
President, that
opción
has been
presente que se ha
distributed to the
distribuido
council
para los
members.
miembros del
It's
concilio.
a motion by
Es una moción por
Councilmember
el
Pacheco,
concejal
seconded by
Pacheco,
Councilmember
puesta por el
Reyes.
señor
And I
Reyes.
understand that
Yo entiendo
the
que
city attorney will not make the
fiscal no va a
findings,
hacer
however, the councilmember will.
las investigaciones de
Okay. Mr. Pacheco on the
señor
finance.
Pacheco en las investigaciones.
Colleagues, this is the last
Colega,
day
este
to
es el
act on
último
the
para
Section
actuar en la acción
245 of the charter. We
247.
have 5 council
Tenemos
meetings to
juntas
act.
del concilio.
We've been reviewing this matter, and it
Estamos
wasn't until
repasando este
yesterday
asunto
that we
desde
felt
ayer y
comfortable
sentimos a
moving
gusto
forward.
para movernos para adelante.
So we introduced the
Entonces,
motion
esta
today.
moción vamos para ahora.
Thank you, Mr.
Gracias,
Pacheco.
Pacheco.
Seeing no other colleagues wishing to be
Nuestros
heard on the
conservadores
findings, if we
en
can
las
please open
investigaciones
the roll
para
on the
abrir la
findings.
lista en las
Close the roll and
resoluciones.
tabulate the vote.
¿Quieres la lista?
13 ayes.
Okay,
Sí,
special
sí,
item
especial
one,
asunto y
colleagues. This is
colegas.
before us. We have two
Siempre
public
nos
speaker cards.
tenemos
Mr. Pacheco, would you like to hear those first? Okay. If we can please,
Entonces, público, podemos hablar a
come
Patricia
forward. Yusra and Denise
también
Weinstock,
Denise Weinstock.
concerned citizens of Rome Drive and Mount Washington Homeowners Alliance.
Mount
Welcome.
Washington, bienvenidos.
My name is Patricia Mearswa, and I represent 37 neighbors on Rome Drive in Mount Washington, a high fire hazard area.
Una
The
área
motion made by
alta de
Councilmember
fuegos
Pacheco
Pacheco
addresses 3
llega a
development
3
projects on our
desarrollos
narrow hillside street.
en las calles muy
At the
angostas.
hearing, an
A la
authorized
audiencia,
representative of the
representante
Los
autorización
Angeles
de los
Fire Department
Departamento de Bomberos
voiced concerns
hizo
of emergency
preocupación de
vehicle access,
vehículos
lack of a parking
emergencia,
plan,
no
and that
plan
this
de
area is
estacionamiento, que
used
esta
as
área
a
es usada
staging
como
area for
para
disasters.
desastres.
The East Los
El
Angeles
este
Area
de
Planning
Los
Commission
Ángeles
failed to
se
consider
falló en
any of the
considerar
mitigation measures
las
proposed by
mitigaciones
the Los
propuestas
Angeles Fire
por
Department
parte de
or the
bomberos o la
community.
comunidad.
We wish to thank Councilmember Pacheco and the council publicly for taking cognizance of these cases and upholding public safety concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Por favor.
Hi, I'm Denise
Sí,
Weinstock
Weinstock
from Mount
de
Washington. I live at 4047 Seaview Avenue. As you know, Mount Washington has been divided for some time over the neighborhood council issue, but I want you to be assured that we come together on land use issues. A group of people in Mount Washington on Rome Drive call themselves the Concerned Citizens of Rome Drive, the Mount Washington Homeowners Alliance, also the association in Mount Washington, and asked us to consider their safety measures and other mitigating issues that they want the Commission to review. I want to thank, and we approve it, the Homeowners Alliance voted to support this group of community citizens in their efforts to appeal the decision. And I want to personally thank Councilman Pacheco, and I believe Councilman Reyes co-sponsored this motion, right? And Councilman Reyes and the council for allowing this to go back to Commission for review. It's not often that, we're not always successful in our requests for motions, and we want to thank you publicly for assisting us with this. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Denise.
Muchas gracias, Denise, y
as well for your
Patricia
comments.
también por sus comentarios. Señor Pacheco.
Colleagues, this is just
Colegas, esto
an
nomás es
opportunity
una
for the
oportunidad
community.
para la
They will have some
comunidad
issues that
tener
they
algunas
felt were
cuestiones que sentían que
not
no
given full weight and consideration during
para
the
consideración
Planning Commission's
y la
hearing,
comisión de
and they
audiencia y
believe those
creen
issues
que
were given
las posiciones se
full weight
dieron
and consideration that the outcome would be
consideradas
different. So
de diferencia.
I felt it
Entonces yo
was my
sentí que era mi
responsibility to give
responsable
them
para darles
a closer look at the site through
más
our
cerca
land
de
use
cómo ver nuestro uso.
and management committee. So
Los comités,
that's why I
entonces, por eso
introduced
es que
section
hay una
245, and then it'll
245
go to Plum,
y va a
and the
ser a
Plum
plan,
committee will give us a
el plan va a
recommendation.
traer su recomendación.
Thank you, Mr.
Muchas
Pacheco.
gracias, señor Pacheco.
No other colleagues
Los
wishing
otros
to be heard.
colegas pueden ser
Will you
oídos.
please open the roll on the
Organizar
item,
la
Madam
lista en el
Clerk?
asunto.
Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
13 sí.
That item is
El asunto
approved.
está
It will be
aprobado.
sent back
Vamos a mandarlo
to commission.
a la comisión.
Forthwith on that, please.
Adelante en eso, por favor.
Thank you. Next item, Madam
Gracias.
Clerk.
Próximo asunto.
This is time for comments from the
comentario
public on
del
items
público en
not on
asuntos no
council's
en
agenda.
la agenda
Okay,
del
we have one
Consejo.
public
Tenemos
speaker
una
card,
tarjeta
Mr.
de
Warren Williams,
Juan Williams,
Coalition for Blacks' Best
Coalición
Interests.
por el
Please
mejor
come forward.
interés de la
Welcome to City Council.
Bienvenido al Consejo de la Ciudad.
I think for the opportunity to speak for the council
Voy a hablar
today.
al concilio ahora.
My focus is on
Esto es
the concern
la preocupación
when a parent is
Cuando un
wrongly not allowed to have the
que
time
no
with
se
their children
deje
under court orders.
bajo las órdenes de
The
la Corte.
police has
La policía ha
responded in several
respondido
incidents to
en varios
enforce
incidentes
court
para
orders.
enforcer.
However, there is a
Pero
network
hay un
that's in
network
place
que está en lugar
that prevents the
que
proper
previene la
response
respuesta
from
apropiada
persons
de
involved.
personas envueltas.
When a parent
Cuando
can
un
prove that they're
padre
factually
prueba que es
innocent,
factualmente inocente,
that is not resolved
eso
within
no
the
resuelve
criminal
dentro de la
justice
justicia
system.
criminal.
When a parent
Cuando un
presents
padre
proof that
presenta
they
prueba
are
de
a
que
competent
es
parent
un
and have a good
padre
relationship with
competente
their
y buena relación
children,
con el
that's
hijo,
dismissed and
eso se
the
tira
best
y
interest
el
of the
mejor
child is
interés
not a
del niño no
focus.
está en foco.
When the police
Cuando
respond,
el por favor
often the
responde,
court
se
system
responde
does
al
not allow
juicio, no
witnesses
deja a
to
los testigos que
testify,
atestiguen
and therefore the evidence of what the law enforcement officers
se
observe
observan.
is not known in the
No se
court, therefore
conoce
does
en la
not go into
corte,
the
no
record.
va a ser presente.
Most
Más
importantly,
importantemente,
as a civil nonviolent person,
como una persona civil no violenta,
the reasonable expectation of the system to
la
properly
expectación de una
work
persona que la policía trabaja
to ensure that
para
children
asegurar
and
que los
parents are
niños y
having
los
a time
padres están
together,
teniendo
that
juntos,
parents can
que
go
los
to the
padres
school and
pueden
be
ir a la
involved in
escuela,
the
estar
children's
envueltos en
educational
el
process,
proceso de los
that parents
que
can
los
parent
padres
their
pueden
children.
llevar a sus
And if the
hijos.
rights of citizens, the parent their children have the freedom to
Tienen la
exercise their
libertad de
right,
ejercer su derecho.
is manifested
Está
in the very
manifestado
process that's
en
in
el
place.
proceso que está
It
en
seems that we've gone to
Parece
the
que hemos pasado
extreme
por
of
el extremo
enforcing
de
laws
enforzar
and
leyes
stigmatizing
y
people
estigmatizar a gente
and separating
y
children
separando a
from their
los
parents
hijos
without
de sus
balancing
padres
it out to be
sin
certain
balancear,
again
como
that
se
the
vio otras veces, que el
process
proceso
works.
trabaja.
When we
Cuando
complain, I
nosotros
have
quejamos, que
complained
nos hemos quejado
to my councilman,
a mi concejal,
complained to
he
the police
quejado con la
department,
policía
and these complaints
y
have
esas
been
quejas han
basically
sido
ignored.
básicamente ignoradas.
It's like there's no real
Es como una
concern on the personal, the individual
persona,
citizen
los ciudadanos individuales.
requesting a change in
Pidiendo un
process.
cambio
What I
de proceso, lo que
request
estoy pidiendo,
is that
señor
Can I ask everybody to
productor, todos que
please
por favor
lower their conversations a
bajen
little
sus
bit so we can
conversaciones
hear
para que podamos
public
oír.
comment? Thank you.
Muchas
Please
gracias.
continue. If I can ask you to wrap up about the next 20 seconds or so.
Los 20 segundos.
what I'm requesting is that the
pidiendo es que
seriousness item will be taken under
sea
consideration by this
consideración
council,
para este
and that
concilio
something will
y
be
que
put in
él se
place
ponga en lugar
to be sure
para
that
estar
orders
seguros
are
de que las
properly
órdenes sean
enforced.
apropiadamente enforzadas.
You know, with the
Saben
addition
decir con la
with the
adición
president signing the bill for the Amber Alert,
la ley del
the system must
Amber Alert,
guarantee
el
and
sistema
be
está
sure
para estar
that they're
seguros de
not
que no
forcing
estén
parents
forzando a los
to adopt
padres
their children.
para
Their
robárselos.
children have to go through the unfortunate experience of
Niños de
a
la
parent
desafortunada
having to call the
experiencia de
police to
tener que
go
hablar
to
a
the
la policía
home to
para ir a
get
la
the
casa
children.
para sacar a los
Neither
niños.
parent
Ni
nor the
el
child
padre
should
ni
have
el
to go
niño
to this
pueden
type
tener por esa clase de
of
trauma.
and experience. So there needs to be some charter amendment. There needs to be some change of law. There needs to be some enforcement done immediately to stop the continuing persisting problem of parents and children being denied their relationship together. So
Thank you very much,
Muchas
Mr. Warren.
gracias.
I would like to
Me
know,
gustaría saber,
because I've spoken to
porque usted ha
council on
hablado
this
con el
before,
Ernesto,
and nothing happened.
y nada
And I
pasó.
would like to
Entonces
get
me
some type
gustaría
of
dar una
response,
clase de
whether
respuesta.
anyone's even
Donde se
understand what I'm
entiende
talking
lo que estoy
about, whether
hablando,
concerned about this
preocupaciones
issue,
sobre esta
or
cuestión.
is you going to be
O
set
van a
aside
hacerse
again
puesto otra
and no
vez
one's going to
y
make a
nadie va a hacer una
motion
moción
to
para
present before the council
presentar enfrente del Consejo.
Mr. Warren, I can ask
Yo
you
puedo
to
ser que
conclude. What you
concluya
can
lo
do
que
is
se
speak
puede
to the
hacer,
other
hablar
side and figure
al
out
lado
who your
y
city
llegar
council
quién
member
es
is, and I'm
los
sure the staff will be
consejeros
happy to speak
su
with you.
equipo hablaría
It's
con
not
usted.
requested
No es la
public
cosa
comment.
para
We're not
emitir,
allowed to
no
actually
podemos
respond formally,
responder
but
formalmente.
please talk to the guard to
Hable
make sure
con la
that
guardia
happens.
para que
Okay?
pase
Thank you
eso.
for your
Ok,
comments.
gracias por comentarios.
Colleagues, that
Colegas,
closes
eso
our
cierra
public
el
comment
comentario
period for
público
today.
para hoy.
We have some items for
Tenemos
posting and
opción
referral.
propuesta en
Yes,
referencia.
Mr. President, there
Se
are motions for
presentan
posting
mociones
and
para
referral,
Okay, those are posted and
referir.
referred.
and there are also
Y
excuses
también
on the
hay
desk.
excusas en el
Councilmember Weiss
excusatorio.
requests to be
Weiss pide
excused
ser
Friday, May
excusado para
16 to leave at
el viernes
11:15
vencida a
for
las
city
11:15
business. A
para
motion is required.
hacer una
Okay,
censura que
Mr. Reyes,
se cierra.
moves,
Por eso
and
mueve el
Ms. Perry
señor
seconds.
Perry la segunda.
Ms. Weiss is excused.
Está
Mr.
excusado.
Garcetti
Señor
requests to
García
be
pide ser
excused Friday, May
excusado mayo
23rd and Friday,
23
June 13th to leave at
13
noon
para
for
salir
personal
al
business.
mediodía
Those
para
both meet
personal
council policy.
no sé.
Excuses are given as well.
Excusados también se dan.
Councilmember Zine requests to
Miembros
be excused for
conscientes
city
excusado
business
para
May 19th
esos
to
de
leave
los
at
mayo 9
11:45.
para
That meets council
11:45
policy.
policía del Consejo.
And Council
Y
President Padilla
concejal
requests to be
Padilla pide ser
excused Friday,
excusado
May 9th
mayo
for
9
personal
para
business. A
una
motion is
expresión
required.
ampliación se
Ms. Hahn
requiere.
moves,
Se
and Mr.
mueve el
Holden
señor Juan de
seconds.
la segunda.
That excuse is given as
Eso
well.
se puede hacer.
And that clears the
Y
desk for
eso
closed
termina la
session.
exclusión
Okay, if we
para
can make
la sesión.
17 go
Cuenta
forthwith,
17 para
please.
adelante, por favor.
Colleagues, we will now go
Colegas,
into
vamos
closed
a hacer
session.
sesión cerrada.
If we can please clear the
Podemos abrir
chambers,
la
we're going to
cámara
executive session and come back
termino esto.
for adjournment on TV. Thank you. Okay, colleagues, we are back in open session. Madam Clerk, what do we have before us? I think that
Yes, there is a settlement on the desk. It's item number 26 in the case of Palmer 3rd Street Properties versus City of Los Angeles, and I believe the city attorney has a report to make.
okay, Mr. City Attorney.
Council is voting whether to authorize a settlement in the following nature. Plaintiff will pay $1.1 million payment in exchange for release of 60 moderate income units at the Medici. Plaintiff will pay $1.7 million in lieu of or providing 45 low-income units at the Visconti or a comparable project at the Central City West specific plan. And the city agrees to expedite plaintiff's future applications. However, city will not commit to approval of such applications.
Okay, thank you. Clarification from the table?
Only 2 potential projects. We will expedite a review, but we commit to no approval of those projects.
Okay. Colleagues, that is before us. Why don't we take a vote in open session as well? Madam Clerk, if you'll open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that settlement is approved. Thank you very much. That clears the desk?
Yes, Mr. President, it does.
Okay. Colleagues, any announcements? Announcements? Okay. One announcement for Northeast Los Angeles colleagues. Tonight at 7 p.m. at 4165 Chevy Chase at the Chevy Chase Rec Center, Chief Bratton will be there for a community meeting. Any other announcements? Mr. Padilla?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. To all the folks watching at home, especially in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, the Sylmar Neighborhood Council is going to be meeting tonight. For more information, please call 818-756-9115.
Any other announcements, colleagues? Adjourning motions. Please rise, if everybody can please rise for adjourning motions. Mr. Bernson.
Yes, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Al Winter, the father of Chuck Winter, survived by his wife and son Chuck and a daughter. And I'll furnish the information to the clerk. I don't have it in front of me today, but my office will furnish it. But Chuck has been a longtime friend of many of us on the council. His father was passed away this past weekend, so I would ask we adjourn his memory.
Okay. Mr. Padilla would like to second that one. Ms. Hahn?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I request that we adjourn today in the memory of Arthur Herrera, who passed away at the age of 82 this past Sunday. Arthur Herrera was a resident of Torrance, and he was the brother of Pat Herrera Duran, who's from San Pedro and is one of our commissioners on the Board of Neighborhood Commission and a longtime active member of the Harvard community. Arthur was born December 13th, 1919 in Colorado and was married 61 years to his wife. Together they raised 2 sons, Michael and Dennis, in Torrance. He certainly will be missed by his friends and family. I have another one. I would ask that you would join me in adjourning our meeting today in the memory of Lillian Davenport Richard, who passed away on May 1st this year. She was born April 14th, 1913, and was 90 years young when she passed. Her career with the City of Los Angeles began on January 15th, 1954, with the Library Department as an elevator operator. On January 28th, 1963, she began her job as a duplicating machine operator and later transferred to the Department of General Services, where she worked from June 1976 to July 1986. After 32 years in city service, Lillian retired. She had no children, but she was loved dearly by her husband and 3 godchildren, Carol Hall, Brenda Johnson, and my Watts community advocate, Myron Cotton. And she's survived also by her husband, Rudy Richard. She certainly will be missed by the entire city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, a dear friend of mine and certainly a good friend of the city and county of Los Angeles passed away. His name is Mr. Transportation himself, John Dyer. Mr. Dyer was a native of Tennessee. He led the RTD in August 1981 to January 1988. During his tenure, bus ridership grew from 1.2 million to 1.6 million daily boardings. On his leadership, the RTD received praise for his transportation planning for the 1984 Summer Games Olympics with those tokens. I still have some of those. In addition, Mr. Dyer was responsible for obtaining funding for the Metro Rail Red Line subway and overseeing subway construction. Mr. Dyer was a visionary leader in the transit industry and was influential in developing major rail transportation systems in both Los Angeles and Miami. I might add that when I shared this information with Mr. Hernandez, he said he was a consultant on the Gold Line as well. It was John Dyer who made it possible for us to have the first leg of the Metro Rail. They call it MOS-1, Minimal Operable Segment, which means that he came up with an idea of benefit assessment because around each station there was a benefit attributed to the businesses in that area. And for the first leg and the second leg, we had in place the Benefit Assessments District, which they got additional funds to Prop A and Prop B to make that transit system happen. It wasn't until you got to the valley over by Universal Studio where they were the major property owners, and had the majority of the 25% of the vote, that they rejected that whole concept and destroyed the concept of so-called benefit assessment for rail systems. But I want to tell you that without his vision and his efforts, it probably would never have happened. And when we broke ground over here at First and Hill for the first station, Dyer was there, Hahn was there, others was there, and I think I served on the board along with Nick Petsoris at the time, RTD. And so we should do something to commemorate and remember the efforts of John Dyer as he contributed significantly to the Metro Rail system.
I want to second that.
Mr. We want to make it all members on that. All members. Thank you, Mr. Holden. Ms. Miskowski.
I just wanted to add on John Dyer, he also had the foresight, not only with the benefit assessment of the Metro Rail, but he also, that was the heyday of the beginning of the boom of downtown Los Angeles. And he was smart enough to then talk with Cal Hamilton, the director of planning, to say that planning should require that easements be preserved in the heart and sometimes in the bowels of some of those buildings where they were building parking structures, an easement for a future rail line to go through there so they could get to some of those stops. It was that kind of foresight and leadership that by those early pioneers who helped create a system that today we ultimately had the money and the capability to do, but knowing that you really had to look long range down the line and make sure that something wasn't foreclosed and wasn't shut out to you, was really the brilliance of some of those early people who really may not have seen a lot come to pass during their days, but at least got a lot of, put the groundwork in so that it could come past for us and future generations.
Eric.
Thank you. Mr. Labange?
I just want to add, too, because John, and working with John Ferraro and at that time, and Mr. Dreyer, and all that effort at that time, you rekindled some thoughts there that were so important. I remember the old student discount card for the bus for RTD, which was a way some of us got around for 15 cents, if you could believe it or not, Hal. But I think what Cindy just mentioned was so important about John having that visionary and talking about Cal Hamilton, because you know the Belmont Tunnel, the vision wasn't there because when they built the building downtown, the Bonaventure, they blocked that subway, which one day could have been the transit link that used to be the red car through Echo Park there. But vision is so important, so it's nice to recognize a visionary like John Dreyer for his work on the Southern California Rapid Transit
We're going to tear
District.
down the hotel and restore the tunnel.
Yeah, all right.
I think that's out of order, Mr. Brinson. Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President, colleagues, ask that we adjourn in memory of Henry Cesar Ramirez. He passed away Monday, April 28th. He's a resident of Highland Park the majority of his life in the 14th Council District. Henry was a family man, a grandfather, a baseball coach for the past 25 years, a youth mentor, a golfer, and retired from the Department of Water and Power. He's survived by his wife, Laura Ramirez, his children, Henry Jr., Mary, and Angel.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Mr. Reyes.
Yes, I just wanted to echo some of the thoughts about Mr. Dreyer. The goal line back in 1986 was a concept. Today, this past week, as a matter of fact, we had hundreds of family members and personnel riding the goal line from Pasadena to Los Angeles to Pasadena. And it was Mr. Dreyer's presence at the interim stage when the project was its most vulnerable, that through his stewardship and the support of the rest of the board members, we're going to make it happen. And it's great to say today that we're going to have a whole new leg of a light rail line because of those efforts, and we should definitely do something to recognize that effort.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Any other adjourning motions? Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, I just want to add one thing to what Mr. LeBon just said. Mr. Dyer did a lot for transportation. We can go on all day enumerating the list of things that he did that made it better for us in the city of LA, Miami, and Ramada, and Washington. But when it comes to the 15-cent ride, that was a guy named Kenny Hahn. Okay? When it came to the 25-cent ride or free for senior citizens during the day, it was Kenny Hahn who took this Prop A money and subsidized RTD for that effort. I just want to set the record straight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holden. Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll. Thank you very much, colleagues. This meeting of the Los Angeles City Council is adjourned. We will be back on TV at 2 p.m. for the budget hearings.
Watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.